I don't have to like always perform my 100% in order to win. Like 90% of work, I would say, is just on Hiarka.
Interesting. So he allows you to do what you do better by freeing up most of your decision making for most of the game.
Well, kind of, yeah. The only decisions I usually make is just like, if we end up in a situation, I don't have to like always perform, maybe get a kill or maybe like do a quick rotations, because sometimes I play on the characters that allow that. So that's the only thing I would do. That's it.
Speaking of Hiarka, I mean, it's important. You came from really, one of the preeminent players, Hockey's on Alliance with one of the preeminent teams, and you and your style. And there's been conversation that you sometimes spoke up too much. You sometimes did your own thing, that somewhere it clashed. How do you feel the relationship with Hiarka has impacted you for the better? How have you found working with him as an IGL and your play style of being an offensive player who likes to sometimes make decisions that sometimes win games?
Yeah. Hiarka is a zone player, yeah, but he sometimes does the plays that most of the teams don't like that sit in zone. So that's the best part about him. We just go and kill a team that if we want to or if we need to, it's not just like we're gonna sit like kittens in zone and just like let everyone come. We're just gonna hold our space. We're gonna hold our spot.
And speaking of animals, you said kittens. Hiarka has given you a nickname. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Because I asked him right before this interview. And can you guess what the nickname is?
Kitten?
No, you were kind of close. It's Baby Goat. He calls you the Baby Goat because he thinks, you're young, but you're the greatest of all time. How do you feel about that?
I'm feeling great about it because I know another Baby Goat from another cybersport, and it's crazy that we're from the same city.
I love it, man. Well, congratulations on being here. I know we're going to see a lot of play from you. A lot of talking in-game as well, but thanks for taking time with us here.
Thank you.
All right, Effect from Aurora. Baby Goat. All right.
Oh, welcome back. There you go. Rain Day, just going in with all the interviews today. But if you look at us, it's switch it up. It's not graceful anymore. It's actually Clara at work. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you enjoying Paris? How are you enjoying EWC so far?
Well, EWC has been incredible. Obviously, today is day one, but I was in the player lounge earlier, and they outdid it this year compared to last year. I'll say that for sure.
They definitely did. I mean, just based on all the amazing food that they had there, Lace and I had to walk out because if not, we would just kept on eating.
Roll out.
Yeah. By the way, for the people that might not be familiar with you, because we do have a lot of new viewers here at EWC 26, tell us what you do. Tell us where they can find you.
So I'm Clara at work. I have been streaming Apex for 6 or 7 years now. Sorry, I had to. My chat said they would unfollow me if I did that, so I had to do it. But yeah, I've been streaming Apex for 6 or 7 years now. You guys can follow me anywhere at Clara at work.
Okay, all right. Quick and easy.
Just don't follow her home.
Just don't follow me home, please. Never that.
She was telling me, go to my TikTok. So if you guys want to check out her TikTok, make sure you guys check that out. Or her Snapchat too, which is actually one of the sponsors for EWC. Now, earlier we were doing some $100 squad. I'm actually going to switch it up for you guys. Lace, we have seen your drawing skills. Which
everyone's gassing it up. It's like
they're good. Wait, show us again just to refresh everybody.
It's on the floor, mate.
It is? Aw, man.
I just throw my stuff everywhere.
I wanted to see that crazy looking chicken again. Now, I'm going to let you guys pick, okay? Do you guys want to draw a legend or a gun in the game? And I'm gonna give you about a minute, okay? This is gonna be a little bit time.
I'll let you pick. Whatever
Let's do
you
legend.
Want.
Legend?
Okay.
Yeah.
Which legend do you guys want to draw?
Oh, we get to pick our own legend?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I want you to excel at this challenge.
Okay.
I feel like,
Ooh, I'm gonna have to pick Octane.
Okay.
I'll be shunned off the internet if I
do we have to do the same one, or can we do different?
You have to do the same one.
Oh, okay, you pick.
Clara, you know what?
Come on.
It's not
Special
all about
guest.
me.
Special guest. Go for it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm a lifeline main, so we got to go lifeline.
You hate me.
Okay.
Yes, lifeline, let's
That's
do
how
it.
I felt when you picked up. I was like, no, please. I'm like, I got to go someone else.
Oh, we're in Apex, they are a couple. Let's do it. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Apex and Octane,
Lifeline?
but I'll do Lifeline, yeah.
Lifeline. All right, so put your mics down. Get your boards ready. By the way, for everybody currently watching at home, don't worry. We will have Group C versus Group D coming up. But this is just some time to fill it up. That way you guys don't have to look at a screen of just saying break. You can have a little bit more entertainment. Don't start yet. Nah. I see you over there starting.
I'm thinking.
Okay. All right. You know what? I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide. In 3, 2, 1. Lifeline. Keep in mind, and I'm gonna stand up. We're gonna switch it up here because I'm gonna stand up and see how their actual drawings are going. As just, oh my gosh.
What's the point?
You guys are actually going in too. Okay, not bad, not bad. I actually gotta keep a timer here. You guys got about 40 seconds left. How's your drawing going, Lace?
I forget what lifeline looks like. I really.
I'm not even gonna spoil what you're drawing yet. Clara, how's your drawing going?
I feel like I'm crushing it. The viewers at home would be proud.
Okay. We want to see your drawing too, okay? So for everybody at home, don't forget hashtag EWC, hashtag EWC26. Let us know what your drawings look like. We already did the $100 squad. Now we're doing some legends. You're done?
I'm locking. Oh, wait.
I totally give him past a minute. Okay, we'll give him a break. I won't give you a break. I'll just take that from you. If not, she'll just keep on cheating, and then she'll start drawing chickens and pigs and a bunch of other squad. You guys ready? All right, we're gonna go one by one.
Yep, all right.
Wait, put your mic down real quick. Rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh my gosh. Okay, Lace, I'll let you hold your mic. And you have the option, no. You have the option to go first or to let Clara go first.
I will go first, so it looks like the really bad drawing goes first, and then it amplifies, because that's kind of how, the Apex competition does.
Okay.
It's just,
All right.
It amplifies.
Clara, if you want to
later
pick
on.
up your mic, that way you'll be able to react to her amazing drawing. All right, Lace, show us your amazing art.
This is Lifeline. She only eats salads because I couldn't remember how to draw her body. And the top kind of started out like an alien, but of course I have Doc and Mozambique here, so it makes sense that it's a Lifeline.
Okay. All right. Give it a second for everybody currently watching. Let us know in the comments right now in chat if you are watching on Twitch, just enjoying those awesome drops. Rate it from 1 to 10. We're going to go back and see what you guys end up rating that drawing. And now, okay, you're good. You know what? I'll give that one a...
Put it away.
I'll give that one a solid 7.
7 for 7.
No, it's not because of that. All right, Clara. Moment of truth. Are you going to make your subscribers, your followers, your friends proud with your drawing?
I actually feel like ours are very similar. I also put Mozambique here. But I feel like you get extra points because you drew Doc. I forgot Doc.
Yeah, that was the only thing I could think of, and I was like, "What is it?" I'm like, I know she's got little
But I did the peace sign because she does that pose.
Yes.
Oh, you do have going that for you.
Yeah.
It is still a stick figure, so I guess you guys are within that same range. And
We should both be cancelled off the internet.
and for everybody once,
Mozambique, right?
everybody once again at home, let us know
We spelled it the
in
same.
the
so we're
chat.
both wrong.
What is Clara's rating? Okay, we're gonna go back and look at some of those ratings that you guys are putting on Twitch, that you guys are putting on YouTube, and maybe that you guys are putting on social media with the hashtag EWC or hashtag EWC26.
Now let's get 7 to draw one.
No.
We feel better about ourselves.
Luckily for me, we're almost getting ready for Group A versus Group B.
Ooh.
You know what? I gave you a 7, right?
Yeah.
Am I gonna have to play favorites here because you're like the guest? Yeah, I am. You know what? I'll give you a solid 7.7.
I'll take it.
I'm going to make you out back 7.
Oh man. Next, you're gonna end up drawing me at the end of the day. I just know it's gonna happen. All right, you guys can put those drawings down. Now, going back here to EWC, have you got any chance to explore Paris, Clara?
Yes. Okay, so I got here on the 1st, and then I decided the 2nd I was going to wake up and go see everything. So I walked the entire day, and I sweated in places I should probably never sweat. It was, but I was determined because I ended up at one location, and then once I saw a glimpse of the Eiffel Tower, I was like, okay, it's a 50-minute walk. I can make this. And 50-minute walk for most people is nothing, right?
Yeah.
50-minute walk for a girl who sits at her PC 8 to 12 hours a day, maybe gets like 500 steps a day. Yeah, I was hurting by the end of the
business days.
3 to 5, yeah. I was hurting. Got like 20,000 steps in, but I felt really good about it.
Okay, do you remember how many steps you ended up with?
It was like 20.2, I think. Yeah, it was a lot. But I wanted to see as much as possible because I knew the minute the tournament started, I was like, okay, I'm going to be locked in the tournament. I'm not going to want to go see Paris.
That's true. Yesterday, I got a chance to go check out the Eiffel Tower. It was freaking stunning. And we got a chance to see it too during the sunset when it starts sparkling and stuff.
Yeah, it's so
It's been
cute.
pretty nice. Now, no, Lace, you got like, what, 7 weeks with me here or 6 weeks here in Paris. Have you gotten a chance to explore anything yet?
No, so I keep procrastinating. I'm like, see it next week, next time, like, you know, a little bit later. Yeah, I'll get around to it, guys, okay? I struggle walking to the fridge like I'm out of breath.
Have you guys
If
ever had
Uber Eats
snails?
could Uber Eats from my
Yes.
fridge, I'd do it.
You have?
I have.
Okay, what do they taste like? Because I was tempted last night, but I didn't do it.
The ones I had were really buttery, so that's all I remember.
Oh.
And Grace is probably watching this right now. Graceful is probably watching this right now, saying anything that Seven eats probably tastes amazing to him. I can tell you, Graceful, snails. I'm sorry, friends. I'm sorry, Paris. Not my cup of thing. I don't think I would. I don't think I would try it again. Is there any food in Paris that you definitely want to try that you haven't yet?
I want to try snails. I tried frog legs last night. That was an experience.
How was it?
Tasted like chicken. Yeah, it was like a little fried chicken, so it wasn't bad. I liked it.
Okay, Lace. Any food that you want to try?
Tastes like chicken, yeah, crocodile chicken. No, look, I do want to ask an Apex question to our wonderful player.
Oh.
We, you know, obviously this game has been around for a long time, right? And you get a little bit emotional, like,
Yeah.
because you're so driven to this title. Obviously, after 7 years and all the metas we've been through and the pain we go through, what makes you stick around and love it so much?
Genuinely, the community. I feel like the community is just so tight knit. Everyone is so kind and like such a family that even we talked a little bit how I diverted from Apex for a tiny bit, but then I came, but then I came back and it was like I was welcome with open arms and everyone was so like just welcoming and it made me feel really happy to be back. Yeah.
Beautiful game it is.
Honestly, that is a great reasoning. It is a great community, and that's why I keep just pushing, because I want to see your drawings. I want to see everything that you guys got going on. But let's thank you so much for spending some time here with us,
Thank you
Claire,
for
at
having
work.
me.
Let's check out this video that we got coming up.
We booked Esports World Cup up.
Cyberware. It sounds amazing. It feels amazing. But they don't tell you what it costs.
You alright, mate? Hey, you hear me? What's the matter with you?
Hello, user. You may call me Skippy.
Speed, power, endurance. They're all right here. Just don't let it go to your head. Or you might lose it. Control or power? The choice is yours.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, guns up.
Oh, dear. Another ruthless kill. Your childhood must have been terrible.
Et nous voici de retour, mesdames et messieurs, pour la deuxième partie de notre journée. La moitié des équipes ne sont pas encore entrées sur scène et elles vont le faire dans quelques instants.
As we pass the halfway point of day one, it is now time to introduce our final two groups to the main stage to debut.
On compte sur vous, mesdames et messieurs, pour bien les accueillir. Ils n'auront qu'une seule chance de faire bonne impression, qu'une seule chance de faire une belle première journée. Et quoi de mieux que la première journée du Sport World Cup.
Here's the thing, Luti. You only get one chance at a first impression, and what better place to pop off than day one of the Esports World Cup. So, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for your teams as they enter the stage, starting with Zipline Mafia.
Dinos!
Dog Red!
Enter Force 36!
Team Nemesis!
WGR Neo!
Hinotrope Club!
Team RRQ!
Elite Esports.
Team Vision!
GK Esports. Ninjas in Pajamas E-Star.
Aurora Gaming!
Sentinels! Sentinels!
अरे भाई आईपीएल चल रहा है क्या मैचेस देखने ना चुपचाप ये सब क्या भी
SHUL!
TLN Pirates!
एक चीज एब्सोल्यूट कंफर्म हो गया मैं आप लोगों को बताता हूँ
make some noise for your defending champions.
क्या मैंने कवर मैंने उधर देखा जब तक उधर वो आ ही रहे तो मैं क्या करूँ चैट एक चीज कंफर्म हो गया एक चीज कंफर्म हो गया पेरिस में अकेला तो नहीं जा पाऊंगा शायद अकेले जाने की परमिशन तो नहीं मिल रही शायद पेरिस
And last but not least, please make some noise for your defending champions of the EWC, VK Gaming!
The Kings return to defend their crown. It's one thing to become champion, and it's another to stay champion. In the Gadia City Grid, there are no guarantees, but VK Gaming have earned the right to fight for it again. So keep your eyes peeled, because their journey starts now. Reveal all the teeth that's going to crush all of these teams. And finally, QQ, press that button and drop them all in. Oh!
当然选择 ALGS 和 Falcon 还有 Fnatic 这3支队伍当做那个底座的话，是因为ALGS 本来是那个欧洲赛区的第1嘛，然后我们选他们就因为他们玩比较好，就实力比较强劲，然后名气也很大。
You are the Sony MVP of the tournament, and you will get an additional $10,000.
冠军加上 MVP 之后吧，多多少少有点懈怠了。
Everybody live in the Gadia Arena, make some noise for the winners of the ALGS Mid-Season Playoffs and the 2025 Esports World Cup, VK Gaming!
在那个拿了EWC 冠军之后，因为冠军嘛，然后大家就迎来一个比较漫长的休息期，就我们已经很久没有去磨合了，然后打的训练赛也比较少，所以导致我们撒谎打的不是很好，结果不是那么好，不是那么让人能接受。
Maybe moving down, VK have fallen. They will not be joining us in match point finals.
就我觉得想赢的话，你得先不怕输嘛，就先不怕输才能赢。所以卫冕冠军对我来说没有压力，反倒是动力吧。
如果我能连冠的话，我觉得亚特兰赛区是站起来了。但是我更想说的是，对我即将出生的孩子，还有我在家里的老婆说，我是最棒的。
2026, where we get to be met with Group C and D with the returning winners of our previous EWC. It's Alliance. VKG and a family on the
Yeah, let it interview. It really. Now, the other side of things, you do have someone saying there was complacency involved.
Yeah.
And my favorite part about that is they recognize it. You know, you don't make match point finals in Sapporo just a few months ago, and you're like, we need to level up. Now you're the returning people here on the stage to defend your title. This is the best way to make that comeback and show your family what you can do.
You have to consider the slogan when it comes to EWC, Tiff. Nothing is given, everything is earned. And if you feel like you have fallen short, which when we know what VKG could do,
exactly,
they recognize that coming out of champs. Now this is the opportunity to take back what you have once tasted in the past here in Paris.
Yeah, and I was being an absolute menace in media day yesterday, and I was talking to a lot of former champions, right? And I was like, is it easier for you to get that first win out of the way, or was it more difficult to defend a title? And every single person said defend the title, because the way things are changing, and it's making sure that you can adapt and stay consistent. And this is the perfect proving grounds to make that happen. We saw all the chaos that happened in A versus B, C versus D. When you've got Alliance, you have VKG in the mix. This is that proving ground.
Sentinels too.
That's true.
We literally just got dubs on dubs on dubs.
That's our
here.
ALGS champs from Sapporo.
And it's going to be exciting to see how they're going to be able to fare off against those who have been able to achieve that at EWC in seasons past. Now looking at our different legends who are ready to go, we have to also highlight the fact that we are once again starting our first 3 games on E-District, this time with Group C versus D and their POI draft, Tiff.
Yeah, and this is what we want to talk about, because the majority of our circles in Groups A versus B did pull down. We had Draft Point, we had Humbert Labs, and we had a City Hall ending. So the teams that are in City Hall, Dog Red. Alliance from Boardwalk with Team Liquid at Resort are going to have early prio should we go to the northwestern side of things. But if we do kind of hone down onto the southeast, I'm looking at Aurora, who has Humbert Labs, Zipline Mafia over in Old Town, and VKG, they're at Stadium. Now Falcons, they started off incredibly strong on E-District from Stadium earlier today, so there's very real possibility that we see success for them as well, and it's a similar pattern. The majority of our teams in this lobby prioed Stormpoint POIs up until Alliance. They're the ones that broke the mold. They picked an E-District POI first, knowing that they're getting Northpat on Stormpoint later, because who's contesting that?
Yeah, for free, right? Like literally it's the aura. It's the aura that they exude when it comes to trying to contest Alliance, which is why they get to get Stormpoint free and they don't really have to worry about it. Further prioing their POI on E-District, which is going to be Boardwalk, as you've already mentioned some of our other highlighted teams. When it comes to settling into where these zone pools have been, right? We saw that Humbert Labs very early zone pool, as well as another southern zone over by Viaduct, but it's all about how a lot of these teams have been able to prio their side quests when it comes to getting the information, figuring out where they're going to settle inside these next zones, especially considering the legend compositions that we have.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, right? And one of the teams that I had the chance to sit down and chat with just yesterday was Team Liquid, right? And they're a fun crew. And I feel like a lot of people would laugh at me when saying that, because like they're like, wait, what do you mean? You got Zero, you got Panic and Sykes. But honestly, the chemistry that they were exuding yesterday after their hero shots I was like, you know, I've got a good vibe about this team. I don't know what it is. Maybe this is the land. Because if you remember correctly, Vicky, Zero missed out on a match point finals just in the most recent land.
It's crazy to even see that.
Right?
And then the fact that like you come out of our first experience in Riyadh for EWC, how stressed Zero looked written all over his face. Now you're talking to me about a different vibe, a different approach here with this player.
You know, it was a little interesting, right? Now you got Panic over there on the right-hand side of things. I said he was 17. I'm sorry, guys. He is 19. He is not the youngest player here. That's actually going to be over on Team Nemesis with Sacred.
Yes.
But there's a lot of those young guns that are on the come-up. All of these new pickups. You've got Aku over there on the left side of Hackis. You know, he recently got placed onto Alliance once Effect went elsewhere, right? So that's kind of the things. We're all about proving ourselves here, which it goes right back to the EWC. Everything is earned.
Exactly. And you know what's funny? I was like, you're still baby, by the way. Like when it comes to 1917, all right. But you know what? It's true though, because then you take a look at having that experience and how that carries over to mentality and how you're going to be able to start strong, everybody. We got a large crowd here in Paris. I know the crowd is rearing to go. We got some more Apex. Make some noise, ladies and gentlemen. I want to see you guys get hyped, because these games are only going to get better.
They just keep on going, and we're going back to E-District to kick us off here from Group C versus D. Will a returning champion start off strong here, or maybe the 2025 champions Alliance answer back with an early firepower start?
Getting situated too with our POI drop that we were already highlighting before. You talk about VKG as they land over by Stadium, very similar to Falcons, and a very different game plan here as VKG wanting to live up to what they know that they could achieve here. Family on the way. LQ understanding this here together with QQ as they roll out already with the Valkyrie. And it's interesting because if we take a look at where this zone pull is, it may be a southern zone, but taking a different pathing here, Tiff.
Yeah, this will be really fun. I do enjoy Street Market ending. So if I'm the White Grim Reapers over there, I'm feeling pretty strong as soon as I can get that information. With knowing how many people are actually favoring Caustic in this lobby, we did see that crypto ban frequently in scrims with this group matching and first banned in our A versus B.
It's important to also talk about the fact that we have another 100% pick rate on crypto. I mean, I wasn't really expecting that too much of a kind of different outlier here. We're going to continue on with the trend. 20 cryptos in this lobby, 18 alters, as well as 14 caustics. Get ready. It's getting a little stinky in here with the coexistence that you could have on E-District. But when it comes to a zone like this, talk about market in general and the lack of space that you may find yourself if you go in for a late rotate, as we can already see the scans coming in with the skies looking congested off these crypto drones.
And immediately diving into some early kind of information, we're just trying to poking and prodding. Aurora, Effect, Tiarka, Oirein, they're going to try and get that action. Now, we always talked about, especially at the beginning of year 6, Effect coming onto Aurora's roster after leaving Alliance. What would that look like? How would those calls work for the roster? But Tiarka has been really cerebral about it, and most people kind of fail to miss. Like, he won a LAN from Go Next, so we do have LAN winners on this roster. We just need Oirein to get one as well. For Zipline Mafia, Kazakh falls to 1 HP, but gets back alongside Weak Q away from them.
You know, sometimes when I feel like I'm getting whiplash watching a lot of these individual players take that TP back from the altar queue, it's also just the fact that you have double stun when it comes to having the deal with Seer, the crypto EMPs on top of it, but we're seeing Zero cleaning up Aku while he was at it, and it's Alliance in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, it's actually a really nice start for them because they actually begin up at Resort. We talked about it, but when you have that ring console at Boardwalk where Alliance was, you do kind of know that you can drop straight back down, especially based off the survey beacon they had at Resort. You're getting that info.
And because they waited for him on the other side of the portal too, that is so unfortunate, but fortunate for Liquid to pick up some easy KP off the start, leaving Alliance as that duo going through Blossom Drive. Hopefully they will be able to bring back their third, while Sentinels hopefully trying to get this Death Box res too. Yeah, they'll be able to get Bleacher right back, but the action does not stop. Caustic Bear, oh, he got connect! All right, and he gets scanned while he's at it too. There's nowhere to run, playing off the sliver of health that he's working off of, but the pressure's not giving up. At least they got the res, which is what matters, but getting out of that situation is even more important for Sentinels.
I know, I'm like watching and counting our cooldowns through the portal. You got 8 seconds on the med kit, 10 on the Phoenix for Monsoon, but we're back up to mostly full health for them and a bit of stability. Now into the drone we go to make sure we scout out that area, but that was almost too close for comfort there.
The fact that they were able to get that, can we talk about some of those changes too? Being able to not have a countdown on being able to get the Death Box res as well. So being able to pull that off, immediately get out of that trouble with the portal right through to the other side of the wall, but seeing the side-by-side of the other teams who are going to start rotating. Reject are right next to Liquid, by the way, after we saw them pick up that early KP from Alliance. I've been able to hopefully reset as they try to approach from the north side of zone, but VK Gaming taking their time coming out of stadium where they have that ring console and survey beacon.
I've got to give it to our teams that are running Caustic that will have access to the ring consoles. The majority of them, you've made it into the next circle, so that's exactly what we want to see. Starting off in A versus B, a lot of people were fighting in that mid-game situation and didn't quite make it to endgame, and that lobby went a lot quicker. It did become a little more drawn out as we went through, but these teams are actually focusing more on getting into that circle. Of course, Aurora over at Stadium, yeah, they're not. For RC though,
A little bit of a different look with Reject now coming in from the outskirts of Energy Bank, where NIP will be trailing right behind him, where they have a survey beacon as well as a ring console. Again, it's more that side quest. They also have the Evil Harvester on the outskirts of that choke, so they'll be able to rotate through there through Energy Bank. But it's a little scary when it comes to the amount of alters in this lobby. Sure, it's 100% pick rate for crypto in general, but it's the ability for a lot of these teams to reposition just as quickly. The Team Liquid now come out of Blossom, and Alliance were able, as we have already mentioned, fully reset. It's a great look for this team because no one's really trying to contest them on the western side of Street Market. So they're just playing on the outskirts, looking at teams like even GK, who are going to be able to take some lovely shots with this Hemlock here, trying to boost up Knock and that Evil Shield.
Yeah, I've been really exciting about that GK roster. Dropped, Keon knocked, and this is a great way to start things off. You're kind of all the way furthest south out of the teams. You do have Team Nemesis nearby, and as we kind of look at that free cam, you can see them just to the north ahead of that. You do have to make sure we're keeping tabs on that. Anytime Team Vision, as well as they kind of get closer to GK, make their presence known, they're guarding that ring console over there. So it leaves teams like Elite, who have found themselves dead center of circle, kinda up in that drone, just kind of keeping tabs. You see SAUL down there. Back to Team Liquid and Dinos, though. Dinos, the biggest question mark of our lobby, Vicky.
See how they're going to be able to fare off against a zone like this too, right? Or will they find themselves extinct? That's the question here while we take a look at the other teams who are on the high ground overlooking Street Market. We don't really get zones that end up pulling directly on top of it, but it's more so on the outskirts where teams that were able to find their place early on in these road takes, like GK as well as Team Nemesis, can get trickier for the teams that have to play off that low ground coming in from the north side of these rotates into Street Market.
It's kind of interesting. We haven't lost any teams just yet. Zipline Mafia, you can see rotating in from that eastern as you're talking about. VK Gaming in the north. Team Liquid and Dinos, Alliance. That's going to be a really interesting side when they decide to rotate in. Now, the question is, do we keep carving a path and maybe enter on the eastern as you see Team Liquid basically chaining those portals together? But Dogred, the first team out of our lobby at the hands of Nemesis.
And now Nemesis also looking right behind them with GK being right there. They're going to be able to clean up that KP just as quickly. And with round 2 closing in the next minute right now, they're going to be able to quickly reposition. I love the space that Nemesis are taking up here with GK being right behind them off of their own portal. They can't necessarily overextend because they know that Team Vision are neighboring right to their right. Also love to talk about the passive of the Altar being going to be able to also scoop up any extra mats that they need, considering that they've been here in this building from the very beginning.
As we keep tabs on Team Liquid, they're going to have to make sure that they gatekeep behind them. I'm sure they're already aware that someone is potentially going to follow them into this circle. But I love that we got to look at that southern side. Team Nemesis recognizing immediately, like, we clear this out, we have the potential to win this game as long as we can hold steady. But to Aurora, who notices south side is incredibly important, GK immediately portals back. We've got to get with the team, stand our ground.
I was looking to see what was going on over there with Sentinels. Now forced to play that out as a duo. Aurora now make their next move. Isolated to their backs, approaching from the south side of where Team Vision is, but it was important when you highlight where that ring console was in front of Aurora to get that information too. Talk about Dog here. Oh, Gillibus, literally won, but an insane nade. EMP is the nail in the coffin. Who's gonna take apart this team as Nemesis try to contest? GK now move up. They wanted to get some of the action here while Sacred is farming thus far.
Oh, here we go. We lost Knocked. Dropped is in drone, and here's Keon. We have to keep tabs on Aurora, who are full sending the south side, and on the low ground they are. They're forcing them down. All is gonna fall onto Keon here while we wait for Drop to join him. I love that we've got that angle for him. We don't have EMP, so it had been recently used, but an Arcstar should withstand just fine until Nemesis drops down and starts looking at GK as well. Sacred is here to get in the action.
Hold on, you're mentioning this young gun legend, 17 years old. Sacred has been farming as he claims another victim. Dropped is the next to fall, as well as the rest of GK. Now Aurora moving up to get into position, finding that one lone member of Team Nemesis, but it's fine. They have the TP from the Altar who'll get back together with the rest of Team Nemesis, but collecting KP this early, Tiff, is important to set up this momentum on E-District.
And they're standing that area. They're making sure if someone tries to make a threat to it, we're dealing with it. And using Sacred on the Altar to do that is just what needs to be done. For Alliance, we are on a different side of things. We're just north of Team Nemesis, and now Dinos, who are rotating in, you have to make sure that you keep tabs. White Grim Reapers, that's who they get the initial knock and full on, and we haven't fully been able to stabilize because we have multiple teams trying to push in on this fight.
Essentially evicting them, right? Because now they're forced to go over to that north side. Crazy clip, by the way. We're currently seeing Unlucky now. Blood in the water, he's hungry. Hearing the crypto drones, great tracking, destroying it before it gets any information onto the rest of his team right behind his back. You talk about Dino too already.
They turned around.
They literally were like, all right, let's
nope.
go.
We're good. And I called them the biggest question mark in our lobby because you think back to the America Split 1, right? They had some of the most impactful performances, and they're one of the newer teams in general.
And as we take a look at Team Liquid, they're going to face off against Dinos. Let's jump into a listen with Team Liquid.
AP 3. Okay. Sliding forward. Top. I'm Sir queuing. Taking the top. Zero. I am. Can we jump second? Yeah, just jump second with you. Consider. My head. Nice. Sir queuing. My head. Sir, love me. Unmute me. Nice. Wait, he's one. Nice. The team wrapping. Okay. Look for the team wrapping us. Top. Nice. Yep. I'm gonna medkit. We fucking got this. Medkitting. I'm gonna scan.
I need 3 UAV if possible.
Yeah. I can get through UAV. I'll get closer. I'm gonna
get over the wall. I don't think we have time to fight around now.
Yeah. I'm waiting.
Shit.
Yeah. Gonna try to do it.
Are you picking back here, Panic? Anyone?
Yeah, I have blue pings.
Yeah, we don't.
There's a team on the right side here. No one's close on console right now. No one's close in any of this. Okay.
Make sure you come. Try to.
Zero's forehead is just close enough to see everything on his screen after they just cleaned up Dino. They're able to reset fully. You can hear a res in the distance. That one member of Alliance, Tiff, was looking to see what the action was looking like, but getting back together with the rest of the team, you're going to try to pry holding that southern side of zone.
Yeah, and it was a big win. You clear out that side unless someone decides to run back at it, but now you be able to walk into the choke. You've got White Grim Reaper nearby, but of course, we're still looking at teams that have to find their path into the circle. Enter Force 36 on the screen here, and Obli as well. A former LAN champion joins up with ILY and Synap at the start of this year, just after champs, and they were one of the teams that I was most excited to watch here when we got to LAN.
Hey, that's going to be even more exciting when you got a Kraber in hand too, seeing how that's going to play out for them and trying to get control over this eastern side of zone. Look at NIP though. Trying to see if they can get a kidnap. A Synap gets the follow-up after getting the Kraber shot, the RE45. More than enough. They get stunned though, they get scanned while they're at it, and they do manage to reposition. Just us right there to give them some backup. Putting down these caustic barrels because they are aware of the caustic barrel right behind them that goes off, that there's another player trying to sneak up from the other side.
I love that as we kind of have this like shared screen moment, you see who it is that's going to be behind them. Ninjas in Pajamas, a team that we actually didn't even talk about at the top of the show. They're kind of dealing with Elite Esports and Kinotrope, but they're going to have to move. But it's all about that timing, because if you send yourself over to Street Market where you find maybe a shrivel of coverage, you're going to get ripped from the team that rotates directly behind you because they're just full sending.
Because nowhere is safe though. Synap gets immediately aimed after they get to teleport right through the wall. NIP, aware but beautiful coverage from E36, not allowing NIP to fully capitalize off of this. Cole and Bane, unfortunately, lose out on their shields. You see Synap trying to actually move forward, but off the kidnap, they take 2 different angles, Tiff.
And that is why Kirev here makes things so difficult for Synap. And hello, now you've got a Kraber. We have 60 bullets in the R9, which can make things difficult, but if you whittle him down with a Kraber first, that'll work.
The fact that we also saw just non-stop fighting in the kill feed too, man. Like back-to-back E36, eventually they get eliminated. Zip taking a chunk out of them, while Elite also were able to get some KP. Pirates, let's see if they are able to reset too, with so many of these altars in the lobby. Bane holding the high ground, looking down at the action right in front of them, while Team Liquid, all gas, no brakes. They're right on top of Aurora's heads, which is crazy to highlight the fact that they're one of the few teams, maybe the only team, rocking the fuse this early.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting because you have to think, effect, he's going to have all of Altered's package to maybe like push a play onto them. And if you've got that fuse in play alongside it, look, that's going to be a messy engagement that many people might look at. So for Aurora, just saying, yeah, let's look towards Team Vision, maybe WGR. We have to solidify ourselves in that next circle.
There's like those Cinderella stories that we also see if you take a look at like where Zipline Mafia is situated. Safely on the northern side of zone, almost playing neighbors to Team Liquid with a bit of a gap through that bridge, but they beat their next plan with S8UL playing right next to them. NIP too, just trying to actually dive in on them, but this is going to be the bloodbath that you can expect when the zone starts closing into.
You've got NIP that's out there throwing seer attacks towards them. S8UL is going to move in on this. We had the drone destroyed from Kinda, and now this is exactly what happens. Short, you get the knock onto a Legacy. The trade comes in and immediately Kinda falls. So it's all about holding steady as Light joins them. NIP, who full sends the third party, likely to wipe both of those rosters.
Served on a silver platter. Thank you very much for all eating when you come down. on the Alter TP through the roof. NIP now playing up the low ground though. Vayne looking to give them some suppressed fire. That's a one member, by the way, of Zipline Mafia who wanted to harass them. This starts off the fight though between NIP, RRQ. This is insane. The caustic gas traps though, putting them in the Dutch oven as it's only up to Curative, and his dreams are shattered as RRQ come out on top with not only the KP, but the position over to the southeastern zone.
It's like you got the building, but at what cost? So now they're going to stabilize. I don't believe anyone else should full send this vicinity because the time is to focus next. You've got the exhibit down, Unlucky's on the ground, and Reject is out here just focusing forward, but keeping this angle on the stairs.
Although this is crazy, I am seeing Liquid clean up some KP as well, knocking Unlucky, by the way, but also Team Nemesis are farming in this lobby. The fact that they have, like, what, 7 KP alone as RC now look to take a better position, looking at the action happening all around them. Alliance holding on for dear life, while Vision now share that together with the building of Nemesis, as well as WGR over at their POY advantage.
I had a blast talking to Carter and Loader just yesterday from Team Vision. They were really exciting, but Arufa finds the last member of Alliance. As Hackus falls, so do they. Down to the top 10 we go for Reject. They're still carving their path towards Circle. Do we go towards the collapsing area of Team Vision, WGR, Team Nemesis? Do we go up towards Aurora? We don't really have some good options here, but in the north, this is the battle of coverage from Zipline Mafia and RRQ.
You could also see just plain King of the Hill is Team Nemesis. They're looking at all this action, and it's just a buffet. KP after KP, they're going to be able to still clean some up. Looking ahead is going to be RRQ, who fought to hold down this building, but Zipline Mafia do get involved. They do be able to 3-3 this, but as RRQ focus on this fight, it needs to be quick.
Pricey can't get the bat off because he's got Team Liquid 0 with a G7 scout behind him. Too many eyes staring at RRQ is their demise. For Zipline Mafia, you can try to go up there and loot that, but thanks to Alter's passive, you can just take what you want without exposing yourself. Team Liquid start to keep that presence onto Zipline Mafia, but with 2 bullets in a Kraber in the hands of Zero. He's just going to use it and probably pick up that G7 again.
Driver Zero looking to see if he can take another victim with that Kraber in hand, while Carter's going to be able to take that TP, maybe getting a kidnap here effects. Looking to clean up on aisle 3 as Nemesis do eventually get eliminated, but it was a great run for them. I think they just stayed at 7 KP, but finding yourselves in the top 7. Now as Roar want to keep this rolling, trying to isolate the rest of the teams over to the south side because Sentinels are another one of those teams as well as Reject, but Zipline Mafia having that standoff versus Liquid unless Sentinels end up pushing up and maybe catching Liquid.
BK Gaming fell as well. And back to the G7 scout we go. He had 2 bullets left in the Kraber, took a knock onto Reject with one of them, and he's been trying to cross ever since. 10 kills for Team Liquid so far in game number 1. And you know what? They're full sending some more. They want to get closer to Reject, closer to Team Vision, Sentinels, and Aurora. And Zipline Mafia can just stay in the north and be patient.
I mean, the closer that monitor is to Zero's face, the heavier he feels in the way that he's carrying this momentum alongside the rest of his team. 6 KP to his name, the kill leader in their lobby as VSN Carter jumps in between the portal, does a little dance here, isolates, the player stuck on the corner. Where can you go? Where can you hide? You play off the knockdown, he's one shot, and Reject get eliminated. VSN with his own closing in behind him though, little to nowhere to run, and it was just a matter of time as Sentinels also clean up Carter.
And then we see all of the damage coming through. The Cryptos in the lobby causing havoc, and Loader trying to withstand all of it as Blinkster gets lit up. The Wingman, the swap, but it's not enough. Zipline falls, Vision falls, and Team Liquid still standing in the final 3. Full send Sentinels before being completely demolished.
And with the final 2 squads, it's just a matter of time as Aurora clean up Sentinels and clean up game number 1.
What an end game. That is one you have to go back, carve it back in slow motion, and really hone in on it because there was so much damage flying from everyone. It felt like 3 teams just unleashing the nades, unleashing the utility. Oh, that's a crazy game.
You get an aid, you get an aid. Your backs are against literally the ring. What can you do at this point but panic, literally? I mean, looking at the way, though, that Aurora played that slowly, let's not even forget that they came out of Humber, moved up, and were able to contest a lot of the teams that were piled up on top of each other when it came to Street Market. That's why Liquid alongside Zipline were looking at the action, wanted to get involved, wanted to get some KP, maybe getting a little overzealous because you still have to consider Sentinels. But then on top of Sentinels, you got Aurora coming in from the same southern direction on top of their head.
Now, the reason I love the fact that this team was able to convert it is when you think about, you called it out, that start at Humber. How many times did we witness Team Nemesis guarding that southern side? They take down GK, they keep focusing on all the teams that try to set up there, but the one team they don't deal with that rotated through the south was Aurora. And instead, they kind of both pulled up, and Team Nemesis end up in top 5 with 7 kills because they wiped 2 full teams there. Perfect. I said slow motion, and they bring it back for us.
I mean, what can you expect to when you also have so many Cossacks within the area? You're going to get stunned. You have the EMP singing. You have Zipline Mafia going down within our last 3 spots. This is what you're expecting, right? It pulls outside of market on the outskirts by the bin and then landing a nade.
Goat, and they were like, that's my nickname, and I just watched Effect literally yeet Yarka up into the sky after that win. I'm like, yeah, that's your baby goat.
Carried him up like Simba, showcasing everybody, the next king of Pride Rock, right? Like, and that's what you like to see, though. And something else when you talk about IGLs in general, Zero was fragging out. He was doing a great job. You could see how he was taking a lot of these fights with confidence, wanted to get that early KP. It set them up. I mean, Zero did get, 6 KP just alone in that first game. Aurora do take the dub, though, setting themselves to already be at 21 points. Whereas you look at Liquid, and in terms of like the lack of placement, still with that KP, they do find themselves with 18.
Yeah, I caught Kareem right before this, right? Their coach for Team Liquid, and I was like, hey, how are the boys feeling? He's like, honestly, we're feeling good. And to come out here and drop the most damage to the lobby on just game 1, grab 11 kills, the highest damage differential of 2,200. That means they dealt over 2,200 damage than they were receiving to just get second place. Right now, I say just get second place, but you're like 3 points behind the match winners based on that alone. You outfragged them by 2, so that's a stellar performance in my eyes.
Having to consider, too, what was going on with Alliance, right? The way that they were taken apart in the middle of that rotate, playing split up. And I think that adds into the chaos of with the amount of teams that have the TP set up with the Nexus, just allowing these teams to reset and then catching some of the members of Alliance, too, in the way that they want to rotate off guard, because there's a lot of GG spots, especially over by market to the low to high ground disparity, and how they could try to reposition themselves and the amount of kidnaps that we saw, Tiff.
See, you talk about Alliance, but a lot of their difficulties was at the hands of Team Liquid. Team Liquid left Resort incredibly quick. They pop the survey beacon, they drop down onto Alliance, they get an early kill on that, and Alliance has to leave Boardwalk and go reset. So it was a journey for them throughout the entirety. As we look back at these highlights, some early fights from Team Liquid were so cohesive.
There were, but I also have to talk about, we're going to say early fights, Sacred was also just going absolutely insane too. But then highlighting some of our last remaining squads here, Aurora just waiting before trying to go ahead. They saw Zipline Mafia fall down, and they knew that that was the green light for them to start wrapping behind them, while the rest of the lobby that was left, that were collapsing on each other on Street Market, was just a free walk-up with a beautiful name tag.
I start laughing because I'm watching Fun's screen. He's got 3 nade indicators on the side of the supply bin. He's like, I'm going to go ahead and go out there and try to do some damage. Not even a half a second later, just gets imploded.
These nade placements from the very beginning, even our last groups, have just been on another level to start us off on E-District. See Sentinels, though, doing great in the way that they were playing patiently in the back end of that zone, waiting for the opportunity to move up. Remember, when we highlighted Zipline Mafia and Team Liquid together, they were kind of on 2 opposite ends away from the bridge that would lead you into Street Market. But playing off that low ground originally was Sentinel before they were able to move up once that zone was starting to close in, before Aurora had wrapped up behind them.
Pretty interesting looking back at Aurora. We're just kind of gearing up for match number 2. Sometimes you just gotta stand up, walk it off. Oidrain, that's one of the biggest conversations. Historically he's been on Aurora, before that Fire Beavers, and they've been contenders for lands, right? We've seen land wins that we talked about it, but Effect grabs one. Hiarka gets one. Oidrain on that roster is the only one who has not won a land.
That's actually with the prestige that he's got and the experience.
That's what I'm saying. They've been favorites, at times historically on rosters, and as we kind of keep perusing, we've got the boys over at Alliance. They're feeling good. I like to see that the vibes are high, especially after that match one. It wasn't the strongest, right? A 14th overall. You kind of look at it, we're mirroring our damage taken, damage given. It was just -11 between that. Only 2 kills. That's okay. We saw bounce backs, right? You think groups A versus B, we had Zeta start things off, didn't do too strong on E-District, but the moment they moved to Storm Point, they turned it around.
I love the fans that we got. The Kiku jersey as well, VKG getting some love in the crowd. I love our artists that we got. Love hearing the chants as well, but it's
like
the
the pickle.
energy nonstop.
Is that a pickle?
They look like a pickle. It was either a pickle banana.
It was a pickle person. Little pickle filter.
He's locked in though. He's going to be able to take a look at a lot of our other teams here. Team RRQ being another one of those teams.
Does Strafing never not wear sunglasses when he's on land? Does he take them off for the game?
Does he wear like sunglasses when he practices too? I'm going to assume.
I'm going to go with it.
Just another day at work.
He's locked. I also am going to commend him on his green earbuds and his green mouse with the sunglasses. We're styling.
And with the lights, I mean, that's what happens when you're feeling yourself under the spotlight, literally.
I love that production pans immediately. That light literally on him.
And how they were able to do, right? Going into this first game, trying to find that ramp up as well for Team RRQ. I believe they had gotten like 5 KP after that first game alone. Like
that's not bad.
3K damage, yeah.
You think back to when it was Strafing and Easy Flash had a really powerful performance on a LAN. A lot of that, to see them kind of back playing together, knowing that Easy Flash has the potential for those fragging moments, and to see Pricey on that roster as well, being a lot of like the cerebralness, I think it's a fun one.
As long as he's going to be able to give them the camera when he was on the Crypto beforehand, we're not going to see that anymore since Crypto's going to get banned before we dive into game number 1. But he only was able to pick up like, what, 2 assists? Kind of letting the rest of the team know where everybody was situated while we get ready for game number 2. Once again, everybody, thank you so much for your patience. It is going to be, once again, E-District as a big highlight because we will be transitioning into Storm Point for games 4 through 6.
Well, let's go ahead. You mentioned Team Nemesis. So let's chat on them real quick before we jump into match number 2. You outlined Sacred. Now, I watched a 42-minute interview of Sacred's first interview ever. And, he said a lot of really cool things. He was just talking about how he wanted to get into gaming ever since 2019. That pre-COVID era, and he was like, I really watched a lot of these players like Hal and such, and I kind of admired them, and to kind of get those nerves, he actually played in the Open, but this is like his first major tournament, and he is the youngest player here on our stage, paired alongside Alb and Skittles. And Skittles, you think about his history, right? He played on Optic. He's had chances to contend for titles, and he's been a really powerful performance. And a lot of people talk about Mac's comeback. I don't want to talk about it yet. We'll talk about that later in the week because, former Dynasty as well.
Yep, exactly. You talk about all the experience that we're seeing from so many of our players in the lobby. And it kind of speaks for itself when you also highlight that newfound talent, Sacred also being able to make a name for themselves within the Open. Maybe not to the same degree that we saw in our previous group when we highlighted Floating, but it's still there, especially when you're such a young player and you're looking to pave your own path alongside 2 veteran players.
What it does go to show you is it says, hey, these are my skills, and when you're looking to join a team for year 6, which he talked about in the interview, he's like, I chose this group because I thought they had the highest ceiling at that time for me. And I think that's going to be really impressive when you come through here and you're already defending yourself in match number 1. It was a top 5 performance, but they were doing so well, keeping teams out of that south side area. Can they do it again though, Vicky?
Find out here soon, Tiff, because it depends on where these zones are going to be pulling, right? We saw what happened to WGR when we saw a zone pulling towards the outskirts of the fence line of Street Market, and what happened, even if you have that POI advantage, guys. See that big Eiffel Tower in the back, and you can hear those dropships taking off. Game number 2 now on E-District as we get set up and we get to see where that zone exactly is going to be pulling. Highlighting our game 1 winners too, now coming into the second match.
And as I look at our legend selection, it's like, what is going to happen? We lost out on Crypto, which we really expected. For match number 2, that's where things start to get interesting. It's like, will it follow the exact pattern, or will we see something different? Back in our most recent scrim set, I believe we lost out, was it potentially Alter? On game number 2, it was. Instead, it's a tie with 17 each, Watson and Seer.
Comes down to which of these teams will be coming out on top, especially looking at those compositions. I like the teams that go against the grain so that way they could influence the legend bands as well, like TLNP. who are rocking out with the Mad Maggie, Watson, and Wraith. With the amount of altars in this, altars in this lobby, it's a little scary. But then you still have the Seers that are so prevalent, Tiff.
We do. I mean, the most picked comp right now is Alter, Seer, Watson. And as we look at our circle, we're pulling down towards that Humbert Labs, which we did see in A versus B. There's a ring console and a survey beacon there as well. So Aurora, that starts in Humbert. They do have Watson. They're going to know they need to kind of stay here because everyone's going to be full sending. Sentinels on a quick escape. RRQ carving down towards Stadium. For teams like Team Liquid, Alliance, Reject, they might be some of the latest teams to show up down there, but I'd imagine that Team Liquid, based off the performance in match number 1, not scared of fighting their way in.
Not even when it comes to Humbert Lab zones like this, right, Tiff? We've seen this before. We've seen it time and time again with the teams that try to contest for the southern side of their positioning, especially by a survey beacon. Zipline Mafia, Team Vision being one of those. But Sentinels, who over on the northern side of Humbert Labs were able to rotate so quickly. I mean, their POI being over by Uptown already, going into that northern side of Humbert, where this is Aurora's designated POI, have been able to take control over the bottom side of the southern building of Humbert Labs, alongside Team Nemesis 2, who have also gone for the quick rotate.
Well, that's immediately what we saw in match number 1, just on a different side of things. Will we see some early engagements, or are you going to stand your ground and say, hey, we'll just wave the white flag for now? But you do have Nate, Zidon, and Kiner here on the right-hand side. High ground, calling some people out. The hemlock with the breach charge is absolutely nasty.
Oof. And the gold mag too, by the way?
The gold mag? This early?
I mean, we'll take that any day. Here. We absolutely take those. CLNP being one of the teams that kind of go against the grain when it comes to their current composition. We highlighted them earlier. Phoenix, Mad Maggie, Watson, and Wraith. Once again, when you have so many of the Alter, Seers, and Watson. And that's kind of what happens if you're going to see the influx of Watson with no more crypto in the lobby. You don't have to worry about all your hard work looking like Picasso with the fences getting deleted, but you do have to worry about this if you're a DJ, right? You're settled inside this building, hiding behind your own friendly Watson fences. You see the riot drill from the other side, and now Dino are just going to sit nice.
I love that they're going to say they're sit nice, but I want to keep tabs on that ring console just above, because people are going to want to play for the third information to know which side do we want to commit to, because so many teams have already moved on to that southeastern side. If we pop back towards like Draft Point or something, it would be wicked, but we've seen some of the craziest pulls before. I mentioned Team Liquid early on, and they get to the rooftop of this building, and they're essentially chasing down Alliance. Oh, that's similar to match 1.
Can't catch a break out here, right? But that's kind of what happens when you know that this was their prio POI. They try to take that advantage away from them. Sure, you could try to walk away with that if you're going to be landing in Northpad and Storm Point shortly, but Liquid wanted to fight them for the information because there's a ring console, an Evo Harvester on that side of Alliance's POI, and if you take a look at the zone, it actually benefits the way that Team Liquid want to approach this, because then they could take their time coming out of Neon Square before going on a side quest and then maybe rotate to Drop Point once they get that next ring console info.
Good free cam to kind of iron out those sites. You got Zero still going up to the side. Maybe a rotate is going to be possible. Honestly, go to Street Market. Grab even more information. Get the survey beacon there and then decide, do we go towards WGR and Elite? Do we focus on Alliance, who are also evacing? For TLNP on our screen, you know, we also have some differences here. We found ourselves in an interesting situation.
This is actually really smart of Alliance. They're actually getting ahead, knowing that Team Liquid wants to get that survey, as you mentioned, Tiff, over by Street Market, and they want to get aggressive, maybe a little bit of revenge while they're at it, because they know that they already have the survey beacon over by Neon Square. They see Team Liquid going in for a quick rotate, and they could isolate this fight. We'll see who comes out on top if they end up skirmishing, while we take a look at Neo, too. We're trying to take control over this bridge side, Elite being on the other side, but so many other teams have found themselves in the southern side of Humbert Labs. But I am expecting Alliance to continue to try to cut off Team Liquid, because they're looking to circle keep them, which would force Liquid to rotate from Viaduct side.
Are we going all the way down here to grab this survey beacon? We just gotta make sure we have that information at Shipyard before moving in, but too many teams have put themselves on the south side. S8UL have been a real more zone-oriented team. I got to speak to them for a bit on Media Day, and honestly, it was really good just to touch base with Sharky. We don't get to talk to a lot of our players the mid-season, especially unless you kind of like reach out. And for a man who doesn't really use social media, things can be difficult. Enterforce 36, you know, Not the strongest match number 1 here in our second set of the day, but that's okay. We're sitting on top of S8UL, and we're going to kind of keep checking ourselves as Sharky on the Seer down below connects.
The Nemesis in hand, too. Can we talk about that weapon, by the way?
No.
Charger, what the
It
heck?
hurts.
Actually so scary here too, but you combine that together with not only getting the information that you get with the Seer attack, but also just being able to get that slowdown comes in clutch. When you take a look at this zone pool going on the outskirts of Humbert, closer, very similar to what we had seen in our previous groups, Tiff, but a majority of these teams have been able to kind of congest that southern side.
They really have, and that's when you have that third ring information. If you're playing Watson, you're trying to rotate based off that. Dinos, they've got the ring console just ahead of them where Ninjas and Pajamas are rotating in. I see Hackus on the ground as the White Grim Reapers Neo move in. Look for the finishing touches if they can. Alliance, a bit of a slower start, but I'd imagine they're banking on really making the most of their points for the series out onto Storm Point. We just need one explosive game on E-District to kind of coast.
Can't catch a break. I mean, the fact that Alliance just keep getting caught like this. Grim Reaper themselves kind of living up to that name. While Dog having a very lackluster game number 1, have settled themselves with their composition underneath a lot of the action that you could expect over by Humbert. Looking at how Team Liquid 2 are going to make this rotate, because we talked about them forcibly going through Viaduct. They have no issue getting that info, but they will be able to note from the Survey Beacon Shipyard Arcade the other teams that will be rotating from the northern west side of zone, which would be WGR.
They should have a relatively easy passage. Not the same that Ninjas and Pajamas has experienced. If you saw the kill feed, Dinos actually took down 2 members of Ninjas and Pajamas, forced the last one scurrying to hit a reset, and now Dinos are dropping down towards where VK Gaming has positioned themselves. Team Liquid have been on a bit of a journey since they left their home at Resort and have found themselves out on the western side, just outside of the next circle. And this is where like you kind of choose your own adventure type of reading, right? Do we full send Elite Esports, or do we make sure that no one comes down on us from the north?
I think playing it where you're making sure that your back is safe would be the option. Because, I mean, like, with the amount of ultras that we have, right, you at least have that TP to reset very quickly. Sure, you could trail behind Elite, but you could easily assume Elite's doing the same thing. You know where WGR, because you already scanned that survey in Shipyard Arcade. And now RRQ, being one of the teams to try to control that northern building that we saw Gaming Gladiators in our last group hold this instead, Pricey. Having the longbow is all you need. He gets a 60 and the break. He's got the exhibit, but he's going to hold on to it for now. Nothing to overextend when you have Reject in the area as well as VKG that are just waiting to walk up for free.
And the big thing is about E-District, when you still have Alter in play, all the different levels that we're experiencing, it's so difficult because you never know if someone's going to try to pop up behind you or kidnap you. Elite Esports, they did already expend their exhibit on the most recent fight that they're disengaging from to focus on saving up those resources for endgame. Henchman at least does have the Jenny in pocket to drop should they decide to fight something else.
Just the fact that we're seeing like these raw picks in the feed and then the resets come through anyways. There's still 20 squads left as round 2 is starting to close now. Team Liquid, full purple. It's the Hemlock in the hands of Zero. And the pings on top of it, noting the teams that will be rotating. You mentioned Alliance looking to get that reset now are going to take their time to come out of draft point where there is that survey beacon. Liquid not trying to get overzealous since they do have that TP behind them too.
We did just lose our first team. Ninjas in Pajamas does not get the reset. Dinos had done enough and sent them packing. So for now, as we see where that third circle is, we've got to get there. KNC on the screen. You can see Dinos just ahead of them. Kenotrope, do they run into Alliance on this? Are they going to get held out by Dinos? Because Dinos have so much space in the north, and they're basically sitting on the survey beacon and the ring console.
Denying that from the other teams. That's why they're playing so split. It's very smart of them, and that's why they've been able to pick up some KP while they're at it. Looking at the other teams too. KNC looking to be able to get fully up to health. One of the few teams running the baby comp, by the way, and only game number 2 on E-District. You usually get to see that on Storm Point, but with a different plan here for this team.
You can get away with it, right? Because you're not going to have any of these banned, and you can focus on those late game reaches. I say, hey, are you going to run into Alliance? Are you going to run into Dinos? No, we're Valcolting out of here. Now, the worst part about this is there's still 19 squads left in the lobby, so you're going to have to kind of slam down in a bit of an extended outside that circle space.
With Dino peppering the damage, getting some KP to their name, it's a rather patient game number 2 with a lot of these stray hits, not going to be able to fully capitalize with the resets that we keep seeing off of the Alter TPs. And now you can see it from the other side, right? CLNP noting that, and as they try to creep up behind another team, it's GK who's right in front of them, and they're about to get stuck in a sandwich between Pirates and Team Liquid.
Well, our French roster on the screen here. We don't want a sandwich. We want to see what they're going to be able to do. Do they take the fight to GK? Do they immediately move? No, we're portaling on to Team Liquid, who are already weakened, trying to see, can we take down Zero? No, Sykes dips out. Zero says, okay, we're going to stall this push. Zidane, though, now with a rock for cover, focuses on getting those shield cells back up. No, we get caught in a seer attack as we try to disengage, and Kiner falls.
Makes my eyes water sometimes, too, when you're trying to engage in this fight. You're looking behind you with your eyes in 2 different directions like a chameleon, because Team Vision are also looking at DK. Pirates in trouble. Liquid trying to capitalize. Zero, though, falls low, and so does Panic.
No. Where are we heading back?
Gotta take the TP.
Wingman in the back for Panic from Zidane. And now Sykes is the last standing for this roster. He's got to go ahead and make sure we get in this building, find him, they do it. TLN Pirates are out of the lobby, but do we have a reset? Because that riot drill is going to burn from White Grim Reapers.
He put the TP right on time because now the zone's closing in, so they couldn't really fully reset if they did want to take it back. But now the zone's closing in, that means Neo gets to move up. They get information. You can see the exhibit too on the outskirts playing and hugging the Gen on the other side because GK walk up and they clean up. Team Liquid, when they were in trouble, they couldn't get the reset.
That one's gonna hurt, right? But at least they did have a pop-off in game number 1 to carry them forward in the series, and Neo, Maggie ball in hand, sights their sights onto GK. Multiple ultimates. And Keon, no shields, he's caught out. Drop does have his back though, and portals away with perfect timing.
Hard here when Neil is just trying to clear this western side of the zone. They're looking at GK for right now in that trade-off, but this is not the only fight that's stacking on top of each other, because then you look at that northern side, that alliance, after they were able to reset, still looking at Dinos. But WGR are taking an off angle, and with this zone completely pulling to the northern side of Humbert, it's a different look than what we had seen in our previous groups, forcing even the likes of Sentinels to start rotating.
If you're Dinos, Alliance, VK Gaming, you are feeling good. For GK and Neo, we're duking it out on the bottom side of things, and with 30 seconds before that circle starts to move, we've got to go. So having that longbow, maybe catch a knock so we can full send. We already know that GK's got the altar and is going to be playing off those. But here's Team Vision! Team Vision swoop around through that. Carter, Loader, Zach want to get into the mix.
They were able to do this too because they also have that insurance policy with coming back to the TP here as GK also move forward. They're trying to force Team Vision to be in the middle so that way they can re-engage, especially with the zone closing in the next 3 seconds.
You have to like be so quiet over there. We get a shield swap. It's half dead, but it's better than nothing, and you've got a massive 1v1 over here. Both of you weakened. The circle around on the doorway. Keep your eyes on Loader.
Maybe come back from this. He's only one shot. He's dancing this movement. He's trying to get around, but the zone closing in. They can't even fully reset off the portal. And now it's up to Zach. Vision keeping in this, playing off the knockdown shields to be dropped, and for free gets a beautiful angle, hiding originally behind the knockdown shields, and still gonna be able to find Zach as Team Vision do get eliminated. And then the action on the other side that we were looking at before Tiff, Sentinels, RRQ, Reject, and Nemesis, while E36 take to the skies to find a spot in the next zone.
I'm so glad that people are finally showing up towards this circle and the chaos that is ensuing from it. We have the intersecting exhibits all in these different corners, and Sentinels focusing forward through the Watson fences. Make sure you get that shield bat off before you dive out. Monsoon peeks up. RRQ, get Pricey back on his feet, and Team Nemesis has fallen.
And WGR just cleaning this up, but can they do it for long? Because Dinos actually made Grief Alliance right now. The Venn diagram, the exhibit for exhibit, all the information trying to isolate this fight is exactly what WGR need to keep Alliance busy. But Alliance now fighting Dinos up here on the high ground. The TP's coming up like an elevator shoot as Unlucky now swings J feature, literally fries him with the R9. Just a blue mag is all you need. Hockey's needing some help, and Aku's literally one shot, but now it's only up to Unlucky, and as they go to the door,
he tries to fence him.
The fence!
He fences
the fence! Chaos is like, all right, I'm gonna take this slow too. Nobody's really looking at them, and Aurora could show face, but this is gonna be the 1v1 cleanup as he baits it out with the res.
Watson v Watson, kidnapping offensive and Unlucky, back to full, trying to get the med kit off, 8 seconds to go, and he's going to try and stick this res. Destroying the fence as we swing out. We get some damage on the Chaos.
Switching it from behind. Unlucky. Unlucky comes out to try to swing them. Staying alive, but another team is trying to grief him with a nade through the window.
And Dino's on the right. Try to stabilize. We don't stick the res. We're down to 2 solos, and sometimes it just be like that.
That's what happens when Alliance wanted to prio getting into the bus. At least they have cover. Even if the windows are broken, he gets the res and he gets a death box res on top of it all.
You just hop on it. It's 7 seconds, and Hackis will be back in it. The stabilization from Alliance. Well done, Unlucky.
Beautiful on cue with the zone closing in behind Alliance. Who was griefing them? It could have been E36. It could have been SAUL who are inside this next zone. VK Gaming, though, are in some trouble. Now leaving it up to Queso, who's almost one shot. So is LQ, though. They're trying to move up. E36 now are going to be cleaning that up while Dinos eventually get eliminated.
Your match 1 winners, Aurora, fall also as well. For Enter Force 36 in the north, your biggest opponents are SAUL, who are in the building just ahead of you. You can see Jesco on the left side, taking angles through the doorways, keeping the pressure on E36.
Looking around the world for Exhibit on Exhibit. VK Gaming down to a duel for now. The stun, the nade at his feet. Talk about the double stun, right? You get all the information for as long as you can. While SAUL do clean up E36. Oogly does go down. Wait, are also still getting more KP.
And Alliance send SAUL? They move in just below them.
It's crazy, the stack up that we're currently seeing. The fact that Alliance 2, looking like Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide himself, going from the northwestern side of the zone all the way down to the south of Humber before finding themselves in this building.
We don't have a gen, though. Unlucky does not have an ultimate accelerant, and he's 80% away from having that pylon, which will be detrimental. So we have to focus on the fences. VK Gaming do fall. So for now, it's SAUL and Alliance in this building. Enter Force 36 over towards their east, and to the top we go.
And they wanted to try to contest them through those white spots and fences too after getting the sear attack, but they're getting harassed. The longbow shots, Henchman, the back-to-back are also Sharky, takes a bite out of them, gets another knock onto Alliance.
And you see the Aku, Unlucky, crawling back to Hackis. Like, can we get a reset? If Enter Force 36 catches wind of this, we're gonna try to finish it out. There you go, Unlucky, Aku, definitely both finished. It's Hackis a solo.
Can he come out here? No, it's just a matter of time as Alliance get eliminated. Sharky with that nemesis that we talked about, Tiff. 6 squads left as E36 get hit with a sear attack. It's all the information as SAUL are keeping their eyes on this team as a zone closes in right behind their back because the teams collapsing on the southern side will eventually have to fight while E36 are looking at SAUL.
And through the window, all the nade indicators, SAUL starting to rack together more kills. RRQ, dead center of circle. Here comes Elite.
Coming into WGR have been just picking up so much of that KP, but looking on the other side, would it be enough is the question when you take a look at the way that E36 get eliminated to SAUL. Still finding more KP, 5 squads left. They leave their building, they swing through, they see RRQ, and they wrap up behind Rejected. RRQ is trying to dance around the outskirts of the zone.
And we've got the pylon, and we're basically staying directly on this, preventing nades. You're behind RRQ. Can we get Legacy back up on his feet? We're going to have to crawl with him with that knockdown, because if we don't deal with RRQ, it could be too little too late. Down to the top 3 we go.
With Pricey going down, that's unfortunate. Legacy, too, the zone closing in behind them. They're feeling the pressure. Can they get the reset? WGR, too, as Elite move up. RE45 is all they need. They are farming. J7 in hand, and Elite Esports are your Game 2 winners.
That RE45 just absolutely shredded through both of those teams as Elite Esports carved their path through that end game. Congratulations. You see Kinda there in the center, stands up. We're celebrating with the coach. We're feeling good after that performance.
Sure, you were farming at the very end there, but I have to call it out. WGR just went insane that game. I highlighted them before, the fact that they were able to clear so much of the teams out of Humber. A cruise up to 15 KP on top of what, like a second place finish here for that team.
Yeah, that was absolutely disgusting. Like, you are 100% right. White Grim Reaper's Neo grabbed 24 points, 15 kills, 5,000 damage. We were hyping up Team Liquid's damage differential and how much they were able to do. No, we're just improving on that. That was a really good performance for WGR.
So hold that real quick.
You think you can do that? Let me show you. Let me show you.
especially with the way that Juxo was able to put in the pressure on the Seer together hand in hand with AQBA on the Mad Maggie going against the grain just a little bit here. And then on top of that, they're one of the few teams that were rocking out with the Valkyrie. Let's not forget how we saw a lot of these teams try to rotate safely into a zone like this. Sure, we've seen Humbert a few times, Steve. We've seen it pull slightly when it comes to those end zones to the east side of Humbert, like we saw in our previous groups. Sometimes it pulls over to the north side, and even then, it could pull sometimes towards Old Town as well. But calling it a little late and trying to clear up a lot of the teams, you know what the saving grace there was too? A team that was harassing Neo specifically was Alliance. And in that moment, we saw what happened to Alliance when we had that 1v1 originally by that bus, and what happens when their attention was split. It was a lot worse of a position for them to be in.
That was scary as we get to go kind of look back at the end game POV from Elite. It's Light has that RE45 and just full sends.
Let's fucking go, man! Let's fucking go! Get over here, dog!
I'm telling you, we're just getting started. This is group stages, and we're already this hyped. It's gonna keep moving. You know what I'm really scared for is Survivor stage. So if you're at the bottom of groups already, this is the time to start stringing some stuff together. Don't wait till we get to Storm Point. Throw down a banger E-District if you can.
That was crazy. I love the energy that I'm seeing right here, too. SAU all popping off, though, by the way. Being able to farm so much on the northern side of zone. But I feel like it's also very difficult when you see a zone like that close up behind you. There's like little to no cover to work with once you're forced outside these buildings. What are you going to work off of? The fence line here? And, you know, when you have that middle area where you can try to get in a line of sight where the trees are planted, it's also very hard to try to clear up that space when you have other teams working off of the natural cover of the north side of Humbert Labs provides.
Who did we say we were banning on this one? It was, it's either Watson or Seer. It was a tie. So we will.
It's going to be Seer. Seer going into this next game here.
So you think back to scrims, right? It was Alter that we lost in map number 2. Seer typically gone in game number 3. Whatever it is, usually we didn't see a Watson ban until we were done with E-District. So keeping those pylons in check and making sure all these fences is going to lead to a ton of plays just like what you're seeing there. Watson v. Watson, dancing around fences.
The amount of Watsons that you currently see too, and even early on when we had so much of the caustic, at least you won't have to worry about the double attack. Let me tell you, getting a little speed boost here too, you're gonna see a zooming Seer like he's on a go-kart himself, but we get to see the look of the highlight, and this is kind of what we were talking about before, right? When SAUL was forced to play off, look at the graveyard of dead bosses right in front of them. They are playing off the truck line, they're playing off the fence line, but Elite did a really good move in trying to rotate behind them and gonna be able to clean up whatever is left of our lobby here. Game number 2, the fact that that was just the action of game 2 as well before we transition onto our last game on E-District is crazy.
The best part about that push is you have like kind of the death ball, right? You all three are sticking together and you're just dealing so much damage in a short amount of time that even if S8UL does turn around, it's like, what are you going to do at that point? Because you were staring down the barrel of 3 players. And I see them. Hi, friends. I love how many people have showed out here for day 1 at EWC. It is such a good time.
Well, everybody's getting set up and we are rearing to go, guys. Let's toss it to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we got map number 3. When we're talking about a quick break, we literally mean 10 seconds, guys. Let's get into this because game number 3, our last game on E-District, is on the horizon. We've said goodbye to Crypto, and now Seer next. Game number 3 has provided us, unless, you know, you see the way that Alter has been played here on E-District TIFF, the reset potential, the insurance that we keep highlighting that actually enables a lot of these teams to kind of get a little ahead of themselves, play a lot more aggressive because they have that drawback to allow them to get back to the TP and fully reset.
I'd imagine we're going to see more of that, but what did you think about Kinotrope being one of the only teams to still running Baby Comp?
You know, when it comes to trying to influence these legend picks, which we've highlighted so many times before, as we get to see more of the fans.
Mandy? Yeah! Wait, what do we gotta keep going? Mandy, GOAT?
GOAT.
I agree. Mandy's an absolute GOAT. One of the best super subs, a great content creator. I think he's been doing a ton of IRL content lately, just traveling, living his best life.
Well, that being able to highlight a lot of our other fans here, but seeing how they're going to be able to go into this, especially when you talk about, you know, Baby Comp coming into the mix on E-District, you're going to find where all these teams are situated with the Valkyrie perk too, right through the walls. going against the grain to help influence these legend bands is important when you find these teams, as you mentioned earlier at the top of show, Tiff, prioring their POIs on storm points, which is going to matter depending on what this third game is going to provide to us on the next legend band.
Well, it saved Zeta in A versus B, right? They didn't really have a good showing in E District, and immediately they pop over to Storm Point and they win 2 games. So if that is where you want to know that you're going to get the majority of your points, then you place your bets on that. You get the POI that you feel the most comfortable with, and you grab those points and avoid the survival stage at all costs.
So line here where we take a nice little look by. Talked about Dinos very early too, Tiff, how they were trying to clear that northern side originally. Getting in some of that KP, but it was even more important to see just the potential that a lot of these teams were just able to get these reses. Again, we're saying goodbye to Crypto and Seer. But we had so many squads still up and alive by the time that second ring was closing in. A lot of teams kind of scattered to try to gatekeep these other teams.
Do you think that we're going to see some more plays from Dinos? Because I thought they were starting to stack some of those fights together. They only were able to obtain 1 full wipe, but they dealt 3,000 damage to net themselves 3 kills, which just means they were trying so dang hard to even get more. They go out in 10th, but I feel like we're just kind of putting the stepping stones together throughout the first 2 maps to really find ourselves on the land stage.
Well, it's crazy because then you take away what we've seen already in 2 games alone, and just to highlight the fact that WGR got second place with 15 KP. Sure, they didn't get the dub, but that has allowed them to hold that first place overall spot over Aurora, who were your game 1 winners with 9 KP. And that's important when you want to be able to set yourself up for the next map transition when it comes to going into Storm Point, right? So now we have our final game 3 on E District once again, guys. Let's get into this action. We talked about POI drafts before, Tiff. What that could benefit for some of these teams that do like to have that POI advantage. But WGR, after losing on the street market when we had that game over to that POI, came back swinging in that game too.
Hey, you love to see it. And as we gear up for our final map on E District, we lose out on Crypto, we lose out on Seer, and all the Watsons, the Mad Maggies, the Alters. This is going to be an action-packed game as we set our sights maybe towards the north as we start off here, the Elite Esports and map number 3.
Get the double southern zone and then kind of mixing it up a little bit, moving over to that northern side. As we get to see a lot of these other teams, well, what do you know? Surprise, surprise, we got a City Hall zone. And Dog Red, see how they're going to be able to try to capitalize off of this, but it's even better if you take a look at Team Liquid. There's an Evo Harvester, but that's going to be easily contested with the Lions that do land by Boardwalk, where they are neighboring that too.
You're saying the 2 teams that I want to look at specifically, because how quickly does Team Liquid leave Resort and drop down to Boardwalk? And now with the circle kind of pulling up towards the north, we can really take down our enemies and then just hold steady. Because keep tabs, Enter Force 36, Sentinels, a quick rotating team is already making their way towards City Hall. And still having Watson is going to allow these teams to get into the buildings and fence up.
Why don't we talk about the way that Sentinels was able to become our ALGS Year 5 champs, right? If you take a look at the way that they've been able to move up and prile these end zones on top of it all and then not be afraid of taking some of these fights, it benefited them. And with a lot of other teams taking note and being able to rotate quickly, it's that survey beacon that S8UL will be able to get to first, as well as the ring console that's in the middle of that City Hall.
Look at S8UL. We're less than 2 minutes into the map, and we've walked dead center into that next circle. We actually kind of beat Ender Force 36 there. Reject threading the needle between them and Sentinels as they pive their coast through it, and Dinos just south of them, already taking some damage and some shots from Sentinels. But for now, on triple white, we've got to find a place that we can make that fight from.
I mean, is this going to be worth it? I mean, Sentinels recognize, like, they don't want to try to take this fight with so many other teams trailing right behind them to also go in for a quick rotate. And Dinos take to the skies off this evac tower. They're getting shot nowhere. It's safe. They force a drop down. DJ is on top of the roof.
We're oobing.
And just that way he could try to drop down. But, I mean, there's nothing he could really do in this situation. He would have gotten knocked if he had committed to that evac tower, communicates with the rest of the team. All right, let's drop down. We get over the other side of the building. That's what matters here. on this rotate. Sentinels now get to fly over their heads. And it's funny because we still see KNC try to rock out with a baby comp.
At least they're still reunited. He doesn't fall there, and that is the most important side of things as you're on the eastern side of that next circle. Teams still rotating in from the east. Kinotrope, Ninjas in Pajamas, and Team Nemesis will start showing. But for now, TLNP, your French roster of Nate, Xenon, and Kiner, taking a couple shots. We're a bit away from that next area of where we want to be, but we did get into City Hall nonetheless, just south of Reject.
So they can at least clear their backs here too, because Elite Esports are trailing on the other side of Sentinels. Well, GK are going to be able to rotate out of Blossom Drive, where they do have that TP already set up as well as a survey beacon, but non-stop vision. Loader just trying to play off the back edge here too. Neo, no stop here on the way that they're trying to play incredibly aggressive. Loader now playing off the white knockdown shield. Can he clutch it out? Just wasn't expecting. Hold on, he gets 2 knocks.
Wait, he can do this. He can do this. He's full up on his shields. He's going for the wreck onto Zach. He's trying to bait it in. It's the altar. White Grim Reaper's Neo, the Arc Star to even push him farther off, but there goes the portal from behind. We don't find him there. It's Loader. He wipes WGR Neo. Your winners of match number 2 are the first out of here.
The outsmarting plays here off the portal to dive down, play off the head glitch, off the stairs, and playing Ring Around the Rosie to get the reset. The MVP Loader comes out on top, and Team Vision get to see another day.
That was crazy. That was honestly crazy. We were talking to Zach Mazer yesterday. He had nothing but good things to say about his teammates. He's like, it has nothing to do with me. He's like, the duo of Loader and Carter are why we are doing so incredibly well. They work great, and to watch moments like that come to fruition after hearing conversations like that, it's just full circle.
Against a team, by the way, that cleaned up so much KP in that previous game. Even if they didn't take that dub, it set them up in first place in the overall standings, and now they have no presence in this final game of E-District before we go over onto Storm Point. A little bit of a cushion here.
You're right. They were on a heater. Aurora. They were on a heater, and they shut it down.
It's great here because now Aurora with 22 points could easily try to overtake that, but it depends here as Sacred also having a strong start. Moving back with the rest of Team Nemesis, though. Dog now going to be able to play from inside this building, while Sentinels painting the ground with these Watson fences is going to be fun.
Truly is. Truly is. Dogrid, 4 points, 16th overall on our lobby. But they have moved in. Now I look to see what's around them. Alliance, Sentinels, Team Liquid in their north, Ninjas in Pajamas still there as well. And it's right. I called them the winners of match number 2 here. They actually got second, but they had 15 kills, and that's a win in my eyes.
Dude, he had 41 bullets in the reserve, by the way, after clutching that. That was so beautiful. He said, thou should not pass.
They hit him with the Gandalf?
He had to. He had to, living up to the name, man. Got to see how they're going to be able to do here as Sentinels not going to be able to give up this ground just yet. They're just going to be able to put in some extra poke pressure from afar, boost up those Evo shields. And then you even take a look at the way that Dinos are going to come out of Lotus, where they have that ring console, VKG doing something very similar here. Or within the vicinity of Galleria, where they are going to side quest to get that ring console and server beacon themselves, and VK Gaming playing a little split. We'll get that information once they see that the server beacon has been scanned too.
Yeah, we got the pylon in the back pocket, and we are just moments away from determining where that next circle is going to pull. It does center up over City Hall, and we're about to find that here from VKG's POV. Reject, RRQ, Elite Esports, your true winners of match number 2, by the way, already setting themselves up for a nice end game.
Let me have to add that. It's true with the way that Elite's very quick on the rotate, right? And the way that they're positioned right in between a lot of the cluster of teams that have made their rotate, while Team Liquid now are going to be able to get the survey beacon, take their time over by Resort, where they could take that jump tower as well before moving up. NIP being one of the teams waiting for them on the edge of the zone. You could see Pirates also just making sure that their backs are cleared as they wrap behind Reject.
Yeah, I am keeping an eye on TLN Pirates, like you mentioned. That is actually really smooth. I'm curious if they're going to like kind of stand there and see, hey, does Kinotrope, do they rotate in up here as well as Zipline Mafia? Team Vision, though, after that fight, that Loader clutches, we are going to be late towards this next circle, but that's okay, because we can drop in Neon. We can grab any sorts of information there. We can carve over to Blossom, get even more, and then go straight in.
Just know that Zach wants to give a big ol' hug over to Loader at the end of this game, no matter what. TLNP, though, Zidane sending off with the Hemlock thus far, just looking down at a lot of the action here. They're neighboring the Evil Harvester right to their left, trying to deny that from other teams here. While other teams like KNC also move up. We're highlighting Aurora earlier before too. And they've called in the evac tower while Kinotrope are trying to neighbor that behind them over to the choke that exits out of Energy Bank. So Aurora will be able to get ahead, and waiting for them on the other side of the edge of zone, it will be Team Vision. So they have to be careful because Kinotrope could easily pinch Aurora if they do not get into that next choke.
Well, he upgrades the mag there on his energy weapon, and honestly, I'm not too worried about their rotations, knowing that they do have the Valk in play for them. You talked about Aurora. We're still gatekeeping the southern side, watching the back. You can see it effect there on Mad Maggie, just making sure if you decide to full send this, I've got the Maggie ball for that next engagement. Nice.
Upgrade chosen.
Talk about getting that perk level up. We are looking down the choke too. I'm glad that they were able to get here very quickly, because now on the other side of this rotate where the Evil Harvester was at that we saw, closer to Dinos, will be that pile up of Pirates versus Dinos. Aurora are trying to harass Team Vision.
It's like, do you really want to harass Team Vision? There goes the portal. They get their sights set onto Carter. Immediately dive back. They're like, look, we've already gave up our element of surprise here. They know where our position is. And he's like, I have a 30-30. Could we go the more mid-range, or do we let the R9 rip?
And let me tell you, the fact that Lure just comes out from getting a clean team fight win for the rest of Vision. He's ready to collect even more victims, but you have to be careful, because waiting on the outskirts of this zone is Zipline Mafia, and Vision have noted this already, so that's why they're not trying to fully send it. Even though Aurora is holding that southern choke, Team Vision have to come up with a decision, and they do not want to get pinched with Zipline Mafia on the horizon, as Team Liquid do lose out on Panic originally. I'm going to be careful with that name, by the way, to his feet. They try to fully send it. And it's going to be a little scary here, as Zero goes all the way up on the elevator chute, and Alliance are looking to get involved.
Yeah, I'm portaling out of there. Someone unleashes a Maggie ball inside my building, and it's just yeeting around, knocking me aside. Sykes joins them. Panic hopefully shortly behind, so we can stick this reset.
Wow. Actually going to be able to TP out of there and get the reset that you were mentioning, while Pirates do get eliminated. 18 squads left, round 2, closing in fully in the next 5 seconds, while Dino hold onto the high ground. BK Gaming taking another TP themselves, going to be able to teleport over to the south side, sharing that building together with Dinos. Hearing that with Aurora still trying to harass Team Vision, by the way, but they do have some time if you're Team Vision, with the fighting happening on the west side of the zone between GK as well as Zipline.
They've got the roof of this building anchored down, fenced off on the zip line for now. And Dinos had one good clean fight in the last game and got a 10th place. And I was like, we're just gonna have to keep stringing that momentum together and know that they've already done it here thus far. Vision fresh off a reset, taking some angles, but burning alive. Maggie ball in hand though, to be able to provide support to Loader and Carter as they start getting more forward.
Playing neighbor at the very least to Aurora, because finding the zone pulling towards the outskirts of the choke of where Aurora is holding, the action that they're hearing is the big pile-up reject, also kind of showing face. BK Gaming still versus Dinos, while Kinotrope are trying to stay alive. Neither of these teams have given up that space, and I did see Sacred go down earlier in the feed. Team Nemesis couldn't get that full reset because he did get dirtied beforehand, but a lot of these teams are playing on the outskirts of the zone. Sentinels, Dog Red, as well as NIP, E36 taking to the sky. They hear Rez here, and the Kraber in the hand of Legacy. All right. That would have been a little cheeky right there, as he's finding more of these individual players flying above.
He was trying to lead the shot, and I was hoping it would have connected, especially if you're going to have an infinite ammo Kraber in your hands, and all of the time to use it. You're just outside of where that next circle is pulling towards, and for the teams that are out towards your west, if you just grab a knock here and there, that really puts a thorn in the side of their rotations. Oh, no way.
Victim.
No way.
Victim number 1. If I just hide here and crouch long enough, no one will ever see me, except on the other side of this Kraber at the hands of Legacy. Gets a 150 though. Here's the action on the outside of the zone, because now SAUL are going to be able to focus on NIP versus Sentinels, and Dog Red will get involved in that fight too, while Team Liquid have set down their portal, and with the TP down at their feet, hearing this big pile of NIP now, are kind of stuck between these two teams. Playing off the high ground is the beneficial position to be in, but the beamage coming in, the side by side as the zone closes in.
and Sentinels are kind of still in the dead center of the chaos that is occurring down on the low ground. They're just basically getting the fulls for them. As you see, Dog Red is going to fall here. Monsoon needs to get back healthy and will do just that. But the fight is not over. They set their sights back on a Ninjas in Pajamas, and Vayne and Kirev are doing enough to get that attention away so Cole can get back to fighting form.
Getting pinged from the distance though. Skirv looking behind just in case, and it's going to be Team Liquid who's creeping about. Setting them up on the high ground originally, now splitting their attention, but Zero's taking a huge chunk of that damage as Panic tries to clear the bus side. Zero dropping down. He's got the big med kit, but he's resorting to the slow heals for now. We get the little zoom in too from the side-by-side of our players. Sentinels with their comps, NIP now Curve looking behind him with some safety while Zipline Mafia in some trouble. Can they be able to get this res is the question with E36 playing right below them.
Zipline Mafia Sensei. All right, I see that fun little logo of Kazakh there. Excuse, back up on the feet. The res comes through while Weak holds the angles, making sure that we keep the damage flowing. Alliance falls in 17th place. Team Liquid to join them.
The fact that we also saw the turnaround from Cole to look at Zero and Sykes, Team Liquid get eliminated. The action has not stopped on top of this bridge where we originally saw Panic try to set up on the bus side. Zipline Mafia now looking ahead while E36 take the TP to engage onto Elite. Once the zone closes in though, it's going to be a bloodbath for the teams stuck on the outside. Sentinels, S8UL, E36, they're sending their units out so that way they can TP in like Sentinels is doing here off the Wraith portal.
The Arc Star
right in front of another team.
Sharky right behind him, almost takes him down, lets him go with just 5 HP. He survives, and the damage isn't done as Monsoon drops a Riot Drill Maggie Ball in the back pocket. We're just trying to find a way into Elite, or at least keep them inside.
The fact that Zipline Mafia get even more KP, by the way. Vision eventually get eliminated, and I saw that Kraber in the feed. Legacy has not stopped. That's what happens when you get the infinite ammo too. You just let that Kraber sing. Zipline now move in. Momentum in their side here as they get the bus for free. Pinging ahead too, because they gotta keep moving forward. Sentinels are looking at Elite, and this is the opportunity for Zipline to try to coexist on the other side of the building, that away from Team Nemesis, and to 3P that fight.
We're about to be into the top 10, and Zipline Mafia is one of 4 or 5 teams in the north, and Weak just needs 2 seconds to go. We don't get it. Zipline Mafia fall.
Hold on though, the way that this fight has not stopped. Sentinels primed and ready and looking different. S8UL though, having the threatening Kraber and looking down in the fight that is Sentinels and Elite. Dino, with 10 squads left, have been able to obtain 4 KP. They have the safety of these buildings, but it's not safe into that next zone in the next 40 seconds because they will have to start moving up where you see that one member of Aurora still hanging up for dear life if they could get this res.
That's what you're hoping for. If you're Hiarka, you want to pull out the Hail Mary and get the teammate back in, but Dinos do not let that happen. Sentinels still finding their path. They get ahead of the other teams in the north and find their path into the next circle.
Where they go, oh my goodness.
The second time they do this.
Wiping out Nemesis. They're back to the lobby as Elite are cleaning up heads. 5 total KP. Well, Sentinels, I'm loving the way that they're moving right here. They try to re-engage onto Elite, but Monsoon's left one shot. The missile, the drill's just doing too much. Blitzer is dancing around the portal as he does back before he's awaited on the other side of that portal. Could only live for so long as they take him out at the hands of Dino, and Sentinels get eliminated.
Do we get a full reset here? Because we know teams are looking to put pressure on that, but for now, they're staying alive in the north. VK Gaming. We turn our attention towards the south, and it's gonna get messy over here as Casa last alive, taking damage from all over the place, and the Dinos are resetting.
Dude, Legacy is crazy. Dinos has been farming 7 KP total. Elite with 7 as well. You're looking at Sharky though, getting some of the extra pressure, gets a beamage here as well. Dino now dropping down from the high ground, trying to reposition on top of Legacy, who once again has been able to claim names in the feed with the Kraber. Little trade-off here as VKG get involved, and Dinos eventually get eliminated as S8UL try to get the reset.
Now the next challenger approaches, a fully healthy GK. Find Sharky, take the portal, chase him down, drop a Maggie Ball in his face. The investment that we're making to find Legacy.
Wait wait a minute, off the Watson fence too? I mean, anything to try to get rid of this player who is hiding for dear life until the wingman shots are more than enough. 3 squads left, S8UL, they get eliminated. GK now get to clear this entire southeastern side of zone while Reject and RRQ are facing up against each other. This is gonna be a free win for GK.
It is. We've got the high ground. So long as we don't scam, we convert this. But when you have Easy Flash in the equation, tanking the Watson fences just ahead of Reject. Yurice, the chow around the pylon. 5 more HP, and there it is. GK Esports convert with the power of positioning there in match number 3.
We knew it was going to happen. They timed it so well to take that dub, and with 7 KP in their pocket. Say hasta la vista to Mad Maggie as well as a most picked legend in that lobby. But game number 3, our final game on E-District to get those points that they needed here, Tiff.
I mean, still good performance from Reject, 7 kills. Team RRQ walks away with 7 kills as well. It's been a very slay-heavy group stage here for C versus D, because all the way down to 6th place, who's Elite Esports, your second match winner of the day, grabs 7 kills in this lobby to turn maybe an earlier exit than you would have liked into a decent game.
Very KP heavy, too, in the way that you could really break down how some of these games start rather with a lull. Reset's not providing themselves, as GK did get the 7 KP, but they're not the only ones, right? Team RRQ getting 7, as well as Reject. Seeing the back and forth too with the Kraber shots, but not going to be able to deal with finishing blow on some of these not players as the resets were coming out. But S8UL still got that 4th place positioning.
It definitely did. WGR Neo, 20th place in the lobby, 2nd place in the prior game, and they, honestly, I was curious what that momentum was going to do. You said it right, 15 kills in that 2nd game. I thought they were going to put down another heater, but we had 5 teams in this lobby drop 7 kills. 5. That's 35 kills. That's the majority, over half of our lobby right there.
You know what it also means, too, is that the overall standings are probably so tight together. When we take a look at some of these highlights as well, you mentioned Dino before, VKG also trying to split their attention. This is during the time where Sentinels do get eliminated in the feed, but it's going to be with 7 squads left. S8UL were fragging out with the Kraber in hand, too. For RC was also able to try to clear up this bottom ground side, and with a lot of the teams trying to contest from the outskirts of the zone, we were expecting this, and we take a look at this wonderful pop-off.
Confirmed he doesn't play with sunglasses. I just wanted to clarify that, guys.
I also want to clarify the fact buff right here comes in hand with the way that their overall series is looking like. I mean, with RRQ sitting with 31 total points, it's been a great 3 games on E-District. I want to hear from more on the interview floor that we got with Sentinels.
Listen guys, we wouldn't be doing the ALGS fans any justice without talking to our current reigning champions. I got Monsoon here joining me from Sentinels. My friend, we got to cast your mind back a little bit, right? We had a very different meta at Champs, but congratulations, obviously, competing out there and winning it. But to now, we've got this brand new meta. You've had Split 1 Pro League to go through, you've had regional finals to adapt to it. How is it for you guys in terms of play style? Do you feel like it suits you guys?
Yeah, it's kind of difficult. It's half and half, thankfully, because of the legend bans. So we're mostly zone-oriented team, so we like to rotate fast, play central POIs. But the first 3 games on all the maps are just super go-go and aggressive with Crypto and Seer. So it's been a little bit of a learning shock, because obviously I would just like to play zone all 6 games. But we can't, so just trying to have better team cohesion and fighting power so that we can, win when we need.
We're 3 games deep right now. E-District is done. How did they go for you? Obviously, started out strong with a 2nd place finish, but then it's kind of tapered off. What were the issues that you're running into?
Oh man, the main issue was just zone pulls there, because game 2, we were in the 2 little buildings on the low ground where the zone actually ended on, and same thing for game 3. We were actually in those low ground, that north shop, and then we just over-rotated just a little bit, so fighting it on edge on these games with aggressive team comps is a little bit difficult, but yeah, it could have gone better for us, but we ended up putting 22 points up, so hopefully we have a stronger storm point.
Nature of BR, you're at the mercy of the zone, unfortunately, aren't you? Now, finally, I just want to I want you to provide us with a little bit of insight into your team, Blinks are fun. What's it like, playing alongside them? What are they bringing to the table? How do you guys complement each other? And coming into EWC, what are you supremely confident about?
Yeah, I mean, our zone calls and the way we play as a team are the best things about us. You know, Blinkzer is just like a young, fresh mind who's super mechanically gifted. He's really good at the game, so he kind of provides this new view of how to play aggressive in zone in the new metas, you know? And Fun's my best buddy. You know, we lived together before, you know, we hung out all the time. So us two bringing that experience of the 6-7 years of Apex Legends competitive, you know, really kind of stabilizes the team from, you know, Blinksers go, and then we're like, okay, let's play together, you know, so, yeah.
Monsoon, we're not super familiar with each other, but this might have been the smoothest and most genuinely fun interview I think I've ever done. I'm going to give you a spud for that. And then it just turned into the worst interview of my life. Okay, we're going to throw to a very quick ad break before we come back with some more ALGS Split 1 playoffs action.
Play is in our DNA. Whenever we let it out, it becomes our superpower. Now imagine an entire city being built to supercharge it. Kadir City, powered by Play.
So not only is Monsoon the world champion, the reigning world champion, but he also got to kiss Barney's hand. Okay, all right. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We'll have to end up finding out. But so far,
what the hell, Barney? You just got kissed by a champion.
And then he said, "Worst interview ever." I don't think he actually meant
words.
it.
Sorry, I just needed to let that out.
I don't think he actually meant it. And we actually didn't even get a chance to talk about this groups. Group C and Group D coming up earlier on. But honestly, from some of these performances, I'm looking at Team Liquid. Team Liquid has been putting up some good numbers as well. Is there anybody that's kind of pointing out to you, Snipedown?
I mean, honestly, Panic. It was one of the recommendations I had. Sykes actually stayed at my house for one day after the last LAN, and I was talking to him because they were going through a little things with Funk on the roster and trying to figure out what the best decision might be. And I was promoting Panic. I said Panic is one of those players that's been an absolute stud since he started coming into the league, and he's not really an up-and-comer anymore. He's definitely someone who has cemented his spot as one of the best fraggers in the league. I think he's a perfect fit for that roster. Just a little more character versatility out of him, and I think that team has a really strong point, and we've seen how Zero has bounced back after, you know, teaming with Hal and it kind of being a little bit of a up and down since then, you know, kind of weak, missed the last LAN. A lot of things went wrong. Now it seems like a lot of things are going right at the right moment heading into this EWC.
How about you, Grace? Any teams that have been kind of standing out for you?
I mean, the thing is that game number one, outside of Aurora winning it, I definitely felt that Liquid was taking over the game in general. Like in the beginning, I was like, okay, they're actually gonna drop 30 kills at this point because they were just steamrolling after everyone. And it really goes to show that we saw, you know, the scrims before this tournament started. We heard him pop off after they won, I think, back-to-back scrim games, and it's literally just, that's it. Everybody can go home. We're just winning this whole thing. And that form, like you're talking about, that he used to have, that, you know, that passion, that's
a little cockiness.
Yeah, a little cockiness, but you need to be confident in yourself to actually pull this off, and that was such a good thing to see. So if he can keep pulling that forward, that's even better. But overall, the stage has been great.
Yeah, I mean, for Team Liquid right now, after 3 matches, 20 points, that's exactly, honestly, besides being towards the top, that's exactly where you want to be. And for you, Lace, I mean, for some of the squads, I know you want to talk about SAUL.
I do. I really do. Look, I pulled a couple of stats. They are so consistent in placing top 10. It is absolutely insane. 75% of the time they place above that top 10. What they do struggle with is like getting more into that sort of top 5 bracket to get those extra things, but they are exceptional zone callers. So look, it's very tight on that leaderboard here. You know, they still have a little bit more to go, but look, this team is showing up, and I feel like they're just getting started.
I mean, even then, just look at number 2. This is one to me that also, like, at LAN, there's only so many teams you can talk about. Elite Esports is one of those teams. I think everybody in EMEA knows how good they are, but I don't think the world quite knows that just yet.
Tell the world,
but this
Graceful.
right now, number 2 currently going 3 games in. They're showing off for the moment, and everybody loves a good kind of moment.
Yeah, and I mean, if we saw anything from Group A and Group B, is you don't want to start slow, but if you do start slow, there might be a chance that you end up winning back-to-back matches like Seto was able to do earlier on. One squad that I didn't really see there towards the top was NIP, Snipedown.
Yeah, NIP is actually one of my teams to watch. They ended up with a 3rd place at the last EWC, so they're here to try and defend their title. They're also one of the most dominant North American teams and the most consistent teams that we've seen in quite a while, truthfully. They were the #1 damage differential, most kills in the league and pro league. And honestly, heading into Stormpoint, that is one of their best maps, if not their top map as a team. So it's going to be a big bounce back heading into this next series for them. I truthfully, I love this roster. I love the way they function. I love how they communicate as a team. Bane can IGL it to his best with this roster because he has a former IGL in Kurev, and he has an amazing team that he doesn't have to micromanage. He knows that all their spots are watched, and he can focus strictly on where his team needs to be. And I'm looking for a big bounce back, and I expect that happening in the second half of the series.
I mean, I think Mon said it the best as well. It's like, this lobby, everybody's just playing absolutely aggressive the first 2 games with Seer and Crypto specifically. And maybe it just takes that to adapt that really, And needing to adapt to that moment, everybody's hyping up in the whole arena, and they need to do it right now because every team that hasn't made it so far needs their strength from that community, But overall, I think they can bounce back.
Look, I actually want to talk RRQ. Is that why we saw a little bit of a celebration there?
Because strafing play.
Yes, because everyone's probably wondering, but they didn't win that match. They basically
they're first.
Yeah, was celebrating for what reason? It's because Easy Flash is back with strafing. I don't know if you guys knew that, but they're like brothers. They kind of fight and break up and then make up and then come back and they pull numbers like that.
Well, let's hope nobody ends up breaking out. But I know this is one fight that you guys wanted to watch, Snipe.
Yeah, I was absolutely losing my mind watching this. Loader, the shots that he had here were just unbelievable. The knockdown shields, the communication that had to have happened to go into that. And then a lot of times when enemies are an altar, the altar has an advantage because they can just pop up, pop in and out of the fight. Loader used that to his advantage. The opponent, the altar, decided to use a Q to try and get behind him, hiding behind the knockdown shields. Not only did he decide to take the altar Q, he took it back in one clip the guy for the 1v3. So that was probably the most impressive clip of the tournament we've seen so far.
Okay, well, hey, I'm gonna be looking at those impressive plays, and I know when that happened, you kind of jumped off the couch, you're like, my God, I can't believe that just happened.
That was so sick.
Any plays actually that stand out to you guys besides that one? If you don't have one, then that's completely fine.
Yes. Okay, let me talk about this. Listen, I don't want to throw shade on SAUL, but dying to zone, and there's one thing if you're already 1 HP, I think that he went down in top 4, top 5, and it ended top 3 because of that. He dies to zone because he just eats so many ticks. That's way too many ticks, And, it can happen. It's kind of like it happens in other sports as well, where we started going But yeah, no, you can't have that happen. But if anywhere, it's in group stages. So you just got to wake up. But overall, they're still on the upper end of the leaderboard.
A team that ended up in third place, actually, in that match. They could have maybe ended up contending for the win as well if that wouldn't have happened, Lace.
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone's got a little bit of contention for everything. But, I'm going to go back to, that leaderboard. It's tight. It's still room to improve for absolutely everybody. Yeah. Why is it it's the same as the first lobby as well. It's literally that close for it to change at any point, at any moment. And I feel like we're so used to seeing someone just absolutely in the lead. Falcons, always in the lead. But this is really tight. So even though, you were saying before, you can have one mistake.
Yeah, one day.
I reckon they might even be able to have 2. It's that tight, this leaderboard.
All right, well, hey, we're looking at all 4 of the groups right now for the overall ranking so far. Gaming Gladiators, I mean, they already played their 6 matches, so definitely they're going to be there towards the top. But one team that I know when we end up switching the page here that I didn't really get a chance to see much of is the reigning champions at EWC, VK Gaming. They were really kind of non-existent, at least from what I was able to see in these past 3 matches.
I mean, I think once again, it's a little bit too early in the tournament to tell for sure, but if they go down crashing and burning, you even heard it in the interview as well. They said after we won, we got a little bit complacent and happy about the fact that we won. And now they said, yeah, but we still want to go back to defend our title. But is that enough? Everybody needs that passion and motivation to actually keep pushing. And if you don't have that, you're going to get caught lacking.
That's the big one, right? We see it happen in a lot of esports, honestly. They end up winning and they're like, okay, I have achieved what I wanted to do, but you need to continue to have that drive. What can they do to make sure that drive is still there, Snipe?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just remember the feeling of what that tournament win was for not just themselves, but for the region in general. Literally put the entire region back on the map when a lot of people were counting them out. And they're one of the few teams. I mean, 2 of the top 3 teams from the last EWC are still full rosters from what they were before. So it's kind of rare to see a team that had some struggles after a win be able to bounce back and come compete. And I think, that motivation of trying to defend that title and be the only team in Apex history to have 2 EWC trophies would be legendary.
Okay, well, you're seeing it right now on your screen. The first 3 games at E-District are done. Now Storm Point is coming up. I'm going to put you guys on the hot spot. Graceful, I'm going to go with you first. Which team do you think is going to perform really well here in Storm Point?
Aurora, and this is because when we saw them play as well in Pro League earlier on, I still remember we even had an interview. I think he hit endgame 6 for 6. And if it's any map where you can consistently hit endgame, it's Stormpoint. And E-District that we already passed. But Stormpoint is the second best to that, of staying consistently in endgame.
And then for you, Snipe, quick, just tell me a team.
It's going to be NIP strictly because of the damage output they have.
Okay.
There's a lot of open space, and I think that'll help them out a lot.
All right, Lace?
Look, Stormpoint's just a different type of beast, isn't it? You know, you watch E-District and people prioritize, like even S8UL, they basically have prioritized E-District, but didn't perform that well. But I do worry about sort of Stormpoint for them. But look, it's a different beast. But I'm going to have to back up Aurora.
Okay, we got Aurora, NIP. You know what? Onset, Dan, let me know who you guys got. NIP, Aurora, you guys are going to switch it up maybe on us?
Let's have a little discussion. Let's think about it as we head into the back end of this series. 3 games to go. Dan, I'm going to throw this one over to you, my friend. We're heading into Stormpoint. Who are your gorgeous eyes looking at?
Firstly, apparently we're on first name basis already, me and Seven. Like, he's only been here a hot minute. He thinks, no, I'm joking, I've known Seven for years. Who do I think, they make good points, right? The fact that S8UL prioritized E-District, now you go into a Stormpoint, you'd think maybe they're going to struggle. But maybe they prioritize E-District because they know they're good at Stormpoint. They know they're going to be better on a map that they played a little bit more, and it fits their comp a little bit better. Or if you think about what Monsoon was saying on the main stage earlier, after the first 3 games, it feels like the game kind of slows down a little bit. Once you get rid of the Crypto, get rid of the Seer, now we get rid of the Maggie, and we go into game 4, where in our last set, we saw a bunch of Valkyrie, and then Valkyrie got banned.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot more defensive compositions now that like you say, the aggressive legends have been removed from the pool for the time being. You're seeing a lot of Newcastle, a lot of Gibraltar coming into the compositions of these teams, and we're going to have to see if they can be effective in a lobby which is so close when it comes to points after the first 3 games. We're going to have to see as we head into the back 3 between groups C and D if Stormpoint can separate the group.
And a lot of teams do rely on Valkyrie. Valkyrie is definitely a bit of a crutch for a lot of these rosters, and this is going to be such a vital and important game here in this series. If you do not put points on the board, with Valkyrie potentially getting banned here, that puts you into such a tough situation going into games 5 and 6.
Well, the good news for GK is they were the team who took the victory in that last game that we did see on E-District. A very simple win for them in the final moments, just controlling that high ground and being able to just clean up the final pieces that fell their way. And with 23 points on the board, I think it just shows, even with a win, Dan, how close this lobby currently is. A win for GK, only 23 points on the board for them as we're heading down towards Team Liquid at Barometer as we see where that zone's going to be pulling.
So interestingly, looking at the pick rate for these legends, I was saying, we saw Valkyrie banned at this stage in the previous set. It's actually Gibraltar who has an 80% pick rate going into this lobby. That changes things significantly going into these next matches. If you think previously we got Gibraltar all the way through until match 6. So that means those teams who I was talking about there rely on Valkyrie a little bit, especially some of the APAC North teams. They're going to have Valkyrie in this next match.
Just looking at Team Liquid as well, good news for them is they have ring console, so they're going to know exactly where this zone is going, so they're going to have the pick of the buildings to play here at Barometer. Looking over at TLM Pirates as well, they're making their way from Echo HQ. Cenote and Zipline Mafia, they also have a console, so they'll be able to head in pretty quickly in towards where that zone's going to be. Sentinels, we heard from Mon saying they like to play the center POIs. Well, they're playing exactly that here from Jurassic. They should have good priority to this zone as well.
Yeah, according to Monsoon, we should see a few more points being scored by Sentinels, to be completely honest, as now they should be able to play their more zone-focused style and push themselves through perhaps a little bit higher on those leaderboards.
As always, a little bit of an extermination crew starting off here as the Spiders will meet their demise as Elite Esports, who are currently up in 2nd place after a win a little bit earlier on. Continuing the good form that we've seen from some of the EMEA squads so far in the group stages, but that's certainly something that we've said before things turn a little bit more sour towards the end of the tournaments. Speaking of the Pirates, here they are on your screen right now. Charge rifle in the hands of Nate up on the high ground. Interesting to see a Pathfinder pick, actually, pretty early on in this set here. The only team I can see in the lobby currently running it.
Yeah, and they are in last, so take that from what you can. But it's interesting, again, it's the discussion of, trying to pick something that is not going to be banned. That being said, the Gibraltar is going to be taken away from them. As now we check in with VKG, our previous winners from EWC, and actually both of our previous winners, in theory, Alliance and VKG, both struggling a little bit in this lobby. But we did see in the previous set, Stormpoint completely changed things and the route and the path for a lot of these teams.
Interesting to see the uptick in Mastiff uses as well when the Gibraltar comes into play. Of course, you've got that new hop-up on it as well, so if you get a knock, you're going to get a little bit of your health back and you're going to be able to re-engage in those fights. And when you're dancing around a bubble on Gibraltar, it's the perfect hop-up to use to get the most damage out while staying healthy yourself. TL are going to play the high ground here, you can see. This is where they've chosen to play from. This almost guarantees them at least the top 10 spots should the zone start to pull their way down to the southern side of Barometer like it looks like it will. But they're going to have to do it with white armor. And I think the fact that there was no Evo near them has also influenced this choice down. Playing up on the high ground, being able to pepper damage out, it guarantees them being able to get blue without really taking any risks and really putting themselves at a disadvantage.
It's whether anyone's brave enough to try and take that position away from them as well. That's where you've got to be mindful of and why. Like you say, you have to be building up those shields so you can retreat back and take those fights. Speaking of fights happening, Team Vision and Elite at the moment posturing up against each other. It does look like this is going to happen as well. Good shots from Zach.
Yeah, kind of going to have his shields ripped away. Zach will get the finish though. That's kind of down. That should be the control of the fight completely going the way of Vision. It will be the elimination of Elite Esports as the first team out of the lobby here, but they've got to be careful because SAUL are still looking at this, but the fact they stayed so healthy during that fight, Vision, means they will be able to reset here. Everybody should be safe. Everybody should be sound.
It is funny how sharks in the water, people are there like, oh, was there any knocks? Can we get anything out of this?
Sniff.
Just having a look, but no, not even a whiff of a knock. So Team Vision very successfully winning that engagement. As again, we just check back in with Liquid. No one contesting them on height at the moment, but they are still slowly building, and they do have fallback options as well. If things do go south, you can always retreat into the center of this building. But at the moment, it's just about a lot of damage output, really, and making yourself big. It's actually, Blinkster had gone down, but it looks like Sentinels are not going to be in trouble. There's not going to be an attempt to push.
Yeah, Sentinels just playing the bottom of the building. Team Liquid above them on the height. Sentinels, again, prioritizing that quick rotation. You can not only tell that by the positioning and the fact that they're in one of the prio positions, but the fact they're still on white armor as well. They really haven't had a chance to path to any Evo to output too much damage. The difference between their position and the one from Team Liquid is line of sight. Team Liquid have so many teams who are going to be rotating in they can pick away at. It's going to be difficult to get that damage up. The Sentinels down on the low ground until a little bit later in the game, but if they get sniffed out on white armor towards the end of the game, they're going to be taken down very comfortably.
So I'm going to say something quite controversial, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with me. Prepare yourself, sit down.
Go on.
I still don't think Alliance have really performed since the change of Effect into Aku. And when it first happened, I questioned it a little bit. I said, can Aku live up to what Effect was able to lay down? And I still haven't seen it, and I hope I do see it for Alliance fans' sake and for Aku's sake. But it's been a quiet start to them. We'll have to see whether they can ramp things up as they go in.
Where is Huge? It's a good question. And one that I'll leave to someone else to answer. RRQ are going to be in first place at the moment. And they're right at the southern tip of Barometer. So if the zone does pull down to the south, they're in one of the only buildings that will be safe. We'll have to see on the zone close if it's going to be safe for that next zone. And if it is, the first place team are in a fantastic position, potentially for this endgame.
Does pull down a little bit further south, not quite where RRQ are setting up. So they will have to move and adjust ever so slightly, especially moving towards the eastern side. Reject down on that fast southern tip, they'll be okay. And even VK Gaming on the northern building, they're going to be absolutely fine for now. But you'd imagine
out not just one, but 2 or 3 different teams to try and stay alive. Speaking of Purple Alliance, they've got there. Unlucky. Hackers and Aku are going to have all their perks picked. They're going to be ready to fight here as they work their way in towards zone. A long way to go for them, though.
Well, I do want to follow up as well. I do still think Alliance one of the best teams in the world. I just think it speaks volumes about how good Effect was. And really, as an individual, what he adds. And I mentioned it earlier, when you have that player who can just turn around and destroy a team in a 1v3, Effect was that kind of guy for them. And Unlucky has done very well at filling those boots himself, but also Aku stepping up to that plate as he grows as a player too.
Here's Dinos on your screen. And they've got a long way to go. You can see they're at pylon at the moment. Team Vision are trying to hold them out. That's going to be one member of Team Vision up on that high ground, just watching their wrap. It's going to be Lota who's going to be able to do so pretty comfortably as well on Axel. He's going to be able to throw down that Nitro gate should he need to, just to scarper back to the closest of his teammates should Dinos decide to push. And it looks like Dinos might be actually walking up on him. So Lota's going to be very, very careful here that he doesn't get 3-2-1'd, all three guns firing onto him, and he finds himself, unfortunately, falling down.
Vision made me laugh, by the way. I was chatting to Zach Mazer, and it's almost like he's their stepdad. Like, he's just that he kind of looks after them. He's like, man, I've got these great kids that come in, they just play some video games, they're incredible, they listen. And Zach has grown as an IGL as well. It's just so funny to hear the kind of relationship that they have and the dynamic on that team.
You left out some of that conversation, and this is for not only your benefit, but Team Vision's as well.
Private.
Let's leave it like that. Well, Neo on your screen right now. They're in zone pretty comfortably right now. They got the Watson in the composition as well, so they're not going to be moving for quite some time. Just interested to see where the zone actually pulls after this one. That's the big one. I think it might be going down towards the likes of Reject. Also Liquid with a good zone read here, but here comes Team Alliance. Falling from the skies. Hackis goes down, and that's the Gibraltar down as well. But Unlucky will be able to drag his teammate and his IGL back to his feet. They will be safe here.
You've got to be ready as a Newcastle. You have to be instantly on that res. Otherwise, you just give that option for someone to pick them off. You know, a charge rifle or a longbow, and then suddenly you're looking at hoping to go for a death box res. But Alliance will survive, and it's just at the moment it's just knocks from distance. Everyone just having a little bit of a poke off. No one at any real threat. As a lot of these teams on the edge at the moment just looking to hold out. Now, Mythic Bin has spawned on the north, and Enter Force 36 and Zipline Mafia are kind of posturing up against each other as well. Maybe going to contest each other for this one.
They might have a poke off around the Mythic Bin that's spawning. I like that term. I'm going to use that a lot more.
Are you making fun of me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm offended you had to ask that question. Well, Zipline Mafia, who went on a historic run, by the way, winning the EMEA Regional Finals to qualify, going into EMEA Regional Finals to qualify for Split 1 playoffs here at EWC, they basically had to win the thing, and they went and did exactly that in match point. So a fantastic story up to now, but when you get to the dance, you want to make the most of it. And Zipline Mafia have certainly got some work to do, but with how close the lobby is, one big game here for any team could really solidify your place in those leaderboards. Look at where the zone's going, though. It is pulling out towards Dogred on that building. Liquid will be safe up on that high ground, I think, for a little bit longer, and we'll be able to actually look to play that roof a little bit later in the game, too, should they wish to.
Hell of a call from Team Vision as well, to be able to play on that southeastern side. That's a typical Zach Mazer position, it feels. They gamble on them. When they are late, they like to go for something that's a little bit off and could be different, and if it does pull, it's a big advantage to them. Is SAUL actually going to drop in a similar position?
Interesting zone, kind of comparable to what we actually saw earlier when we went down to Dev Coast to see the zone where, you know, playable spots there are, but they're broken. It was helped out by the fact that it was a game spots there are, but they're broken. It was helped out by the fact that it was a game number 4, that the fact that the Gibraltar and the Newcastle was still available. A very similar situation here with the zone that we see. Not a lot of natural cover, but a lot of utility in the Legend compositions, which is going to help these teams survive towards the end game. If this is a game 5, game 6, even a game 1 or 2, you're probably seeing the lobby down to 7 or 8 teams as the zone goes into that final ring. But in this, you could see a lot more just due to the utility that is available for teams as RRQ make their move a little bit closer to the zone here.
More knocks in the kill feed, but still just from distance. But this one is not. This has been a fight that's been extended for quite some time, as now Dinos have lost one.
Zach loses his shields, but stays on his feet. J Future has to take a second here to play behind the knockdown. His teammate DJ Killer's going to hold that door. There's Watson fences around as well. You've got to be so careful where you step. You don't want to get stunned and find yourself in a position where you're so vulnerable to a 1v1. It looks like Vision have managed to get the res as well. It's a 2v3, although now it becomes a 3v3 again, as Dinos will get the full reset.
Yeah, both teams back off, both teams get the res, as now Zipline Mafia have just arrived to the party. That puts a lot of pressure on the team on the outside here. So Dinos have to be careful, because remember, Vision were inside. They have protection from this.
Gunners have managed to climb all the way up to the high ground. A couple of Valk missiles coming their way. That's going to force the bub. DigiKiller's trying his best to get his claws onto the top of that egg just to climb up to join his two teammates, but with the bubble being burnt, that makes it a little bit more difficult for them to survive if they take this fight. Anyway, looks like it's going to be happening right now, and it's going to be Dinos who get that first initial damage.
Initial damage, you do follow up. Yes, you do. You've got to get rid of the fences, though, and you will, and it's going to be 2 going in their favor, and it looks like Vision are falling apart here. Can you escape, maybe? No, you cannot. Vision eliminated in 19th. Now, will we see Zipline Mafia re-engage? It looks like no. They are happy to be trolls under the bridge right now. By the way, all the meanwhile, Alliance have been able to get kind of north of Dinos, holding this eastern side, because they were able to just fly in for free, walk in for free, it feels like.
Yeah, Alliance just Valkyrie over the entirety of the lobby, played that spider choke, and now we'll have a pretty good walk into where this zone is going to be going. Remember, they are on Baby Comp as well, so they have Newcastle and Gibraltar available to help them hold down that spot, increase their survivability chances as that endgame starts to take place. Everyone else who's on the western side of this zone has to go through each other. That's where the lobby will start to cut itself down, as Zipline Mafia, as we see on our screen, still hold that bridge position.
Yeah, a lot of the teams on the east have a chance to pick up some big points, as now VKG down to just 1, but the res is happening, and they have been able to find a trade of their own. They're kind of backed into a room at the moment of EKG, and they only have 23 seconds to try and win out this fight and actually plan where they're going to move. It's always frustrating when you're this close to ring closing in. Someone engages with you, and it just takes away that opportunity to plan and talk about where you're going to go.
I mean, so many teams are still outside of this zone, and it's starting to close in 10 seconds time. The problem is, nobody knows where to go. 2 teams who don't know where to go right now are staring straight into each other's eyes. That's going to be Alliance. The queue lasts a little bit longer for them. They get that initial damage, and it's down to J Future on the Gibraltar to try and clutch here. Alliance will go down thanks to the lobby, and it looks like Dinos will survive.
Yeah, that was Zipline Mafia from under the bridge, is now Enter Force 36. They see their opportunity, and they will enter as a full 3 here. Dino, sadly, they will be able to toss some left behind remnants, but E36 will pick up this position as now Team Nemesis decide this could be a chance for them.
Everyone dropping from the skies from the Valkyries, just looking to find somewhere to play. Jizzler's going to be able to get the castle wall down, and changes to that Massive to try and ward off the pressure coming in from Nemesis. Team Liquid still inside a zone though, still up on that high ground, and still able to take advantage of so many teams who are going to be falling into the open. Neo will be eliminated from the lobby next. 15 squads now remain.
Team Liquid now taking a little bit of ring damage. They have to move to the other side. Remember, Sentinels are below them as well, as Nemesis now have the castle wall out. Reject have been taken down. Pirates are eliminated as well. It's 13 squads as Nemesis are under pressure.
Sacred with a triple take. He'll make this interesting. He makes it very interesting, but he can't clutch up, as E36 will just about survive. Ninjas in Pajamas, another dud game for them. They will fall out earlier than they would have wanted to, but with the bubble down, E36 will be safe and will be able to reset here.
All the meanwhile, Zipline Mafia have played this perfectly. Not only were they helping out on damage and forcing those teams on the east to fight, but now they have taken center zone here. Their main worry is going to be Enter Force 36 right now. If they do take that engagement, they could be in a game-winning spot.
Oh, Trop gets the bubble down, but not before he falls down himself. It's KNC putting the pressure on. The Falcon from Noxy says, I'm out of here, boys. I'm going to try and get us a few placement points. Hover in the skies and see if I can find somewhere to land. It's KNC who will come out this one strongest, and a Kraber in the hands of Chappie.
I mean, smart play. You can definitely pick up 1 or 2 placement points depending on how you play this one going up into the sky. As there you go. There's your extra placement point just from Falcon up, because Aurora just got eliminated.
Aurora gone. As RRQ now look to get involved in some of these fights. S8UL only got 1 player on his feet. It's Jesco on the Gibby. He falls to his knees and he falls back into the lobby screen, and RRQ take the zipline back down as they have to now worry about where the zone is going. Everybody is being forced towards his zone, and there's barely anywhere to play.
RRQ are fighting so well together at the moment. Very difficult to try and compete with people that in sync, as Sentinels finally are going to have to move out. Blinks has gone down, and sadly, there's just too many teams looking at them.
This is really, really rough. So many teams are refusing to rotate to zone. They're just looking for KP. Possibly recognizing that it's going to be difficult for them to win this game, so they're trying to maximize those points through kills and taking the teams out around them. RRQ now with the Jimmy bubble down on that low ground. KNC look across them. GK will be eliminated. VK will be eliminated as well, as we down to 7.
Down to 7. Zipline Mafia still dead center of this zone, as RRQ is still somehow alive on this southern side and actually forcing their way in. 1 remains on Sentinels, by the way. It's going to be behind RRQ here.
Raybar. You peek. And Chappie will look to teach. Almost manages to take the skull off of 1 player. They're going to have to survive for now. Another fight going down. Over to his east. It's going to be involving... Look on your screen right now. Sentinel's just been eliminated in the meantime. Dogred will go down. It's KNC who are starting to pick up KP after KP from this high ground position. And Team Liquid might be next. Zipline Mafia now being contested themselves as WeQ on the Gibraltar has to spray with that R9 and has to try and clutch. Strafing Flame, he's down into 1v1. Pricey last alive.
Last alive, you've got the Gibby, you've got the bubble, you've got the shotgun as well. Pricey slams him home. Zipline Mafia out, Team Liquid. Now after dropping here, they can get very aggressive here, and it's a 2 versus 2.
It's a 3 versus 1, it's a 2 versus 1, it's a 1 versus 1, and Zero barely has any KP. Sykes is trying to stick the knock. E36 looking to move up on this as well as KNC takes to the sky just to try and survive and buy a little bit more time. Panic has found a little ledge to play and gets into the top 3 because of it.
Well, RRQ are watching all of this unfold, by the way, and it should just be a matter of patience at this point. Enter Force 36 is still alive, and then one remaining solo that's going to prove to be a thorn in the side of their chances of winning this game.
Easy Flash has got himself 5 kills in this game, so it's looking like a monster potential point tally for RRQ here. Panic still hasn't been spotted, by the way, and if he isn't spotted, there's a real chance he could win this one. If this 3v3 goes down and Panic does not get spotted, then all of a sudden Liquid have a chance.
If anyone can do it, it's Panic. We know how good he is in these engagements. RRQ taking a lot of damage. Need to hand over. You need someone who can help you with this damage now.
Pricey with a PK in his hand, the bubble goes down. Jizzler with a massive in his hand.
Where's Panic?
Strafing Flame. Jumping around, he gets chunked by the massive 1, 2, 3 times. He's down as well. Panic's still alive. It's a 1v1. Panic does it for Liquid. The sneakiest of Valkyries finds a spot to play, and the young man comes up clutch for Liquid.
There is always an opportunity. As a rat, as a solo, if you can find a way to go unseen, unnoticed, get behind enemy lines and time it perfectly, that could be a game-changing moment, a tournament-changing moment for Team Liquid, who are certainly in contention for winning this entire tournament. They have the players, they have the history, but it's those clutch moments that you need to become champions. All the meanwhile, still incredible points found from the likes of RRQ, who will continue to be at the top of this lobby.
The Aviators are out, and why wouldn't they be? It's a great game for them, but I mean, you just saw what was happening. Everybody lost. Panic. He got on that ledge of the cannon and then just avoided E36 line of sight. They did not know where he was. He was just peeking, he was just prodding, he was not giving them the opportunity. And when he took to the skies, he fell in a 1v1. And having got into position where he had the first shots, you know that boy ain't gonna miss when the lights shine brightest.
And when we look back at the highlights, the amount of health Panic had when he initially escaped and he survived, it was a slither. If you had sneezed on him, he would have gone down and it would have been a 3v3. And also, how many times do you see those situations where you stay alive as a player, you watch the fight happen, 2 or 3 players survive, you walk in and it is just, you fall over, you get second place, you're happy. But with the amount of damage that was being done between both of these two teams, it gave Panic that opportunity. And again, he just had to time it right here. This was the fight that gave them the opportunity to win. And then Panic, it's as simple as that.
And when you're a new player on a team, when you're a young man who's been given an opportunity to step up onto one of the most storied players in the ALGS with wins under his belt in Zero. Sykes, who's been there before, been in finals, been close to winning those big tournaments. To have a play like that happen early in the tournament, it makes you feel like you belong. Now, don't get me wrong, Panic felt like he belonged probably 2 years ago. I mean, you've seen the confidence that the kid has, but those moments are massive.
And the reason you see RRQ react in the way they just did, they put a 17-kill game on the board alongside that second place to put 26 points down in match 4, putting them at a total of 57, giving them a 20-point lead going into match 5 over Team Liquid. Such an advantageous position they find themselves in with 2 remaining now. And remember, Valkyrie will still stay alive going into matches 5 and 6. And you look what so many of these teams were able to do in that game thanks to Valkyrie. You can have one more opportunity to do it again, but this time, no Gibraltar.
Well, that has made the lobby a little bit more interesting when you're looking at those overalls. The performance from RRQ has given them that gap now. They have a gap at the top of the leaderboard. Of course, we're talking about cumulative points, but it's a fantastic performance from them that's going to make these next 2 games a lot easier for them when it comes to pressure with the situations they find themselves in. For the rest of the lobby, they're going to be looking at that performance as a blueprint for what they do in these next 2 games. One big game, and all of a sudden you are flying up those leaderboards.
Team Liquid had a damage difference in that game of 4,470.
That's that higher barometer, baby.
Pointed it out right at the start of the game that their aim is just going to be building up their shields, dealing damage, forcing people away, forcing people into uncomfortable positions, and then later on, they were able to take some of the priority space. But then you saw in the replay, you may have heard in the replay, Zero saying, who inted us in that point? Because even despite the int, they were able to survive with that single player and go on to win the game. And yes, they didn't get the most points in the lobby, but that win is so important for confidence, not just for Panic, but for Zero as well. How many times have we watched tournaments of Zero IGLing? They haven't quite got there. Perhaps confidence starts to dwindle a little bit. If Zero gets going and heating up, suddenly this Team Liquid roster, they become such a terrifying force to compete against.
Yeah, there's nothing scarier than when Zero's focused and fired up and hyped up as well. I think that's when he plays his best Apex Legends. And when you've got a player like Panic who is never shy at getting hyped up himself. By the way, these massive shots here from Jusna, absolutely ridiculous. Those 3 that he chunked inside and around that bubble were absolutely beautiful. But when you've got a player who is going to be as fiery as you are, as motivated, as pop off, what's the word I'm looking for? Pop-off orientated. That's the one I'm looking for. It's going to motivate you as well. It's going to bring out the best in you, and I think the Panic's been a great addition to this team, even though there's a little bit of a gelling process. Liquid, coming into this tournament, for me, we're a team who haven't been spoken enough about. They are serious when it comes to winning this tournament.
And those extra, 7 points that were just gathered in that single moment from Panic as well, that could be the difference maker from getting into the next stage, from getting into the finals lobby, to be honest. And you don't want to be one of those teams competing in the survival stage and then finding yourself having to play a long, drawn-out stage where you could be comfortably putting your feet up.
And then you remember as well, you qualify immediately for finals, your POI draft becomes a lot more enticing.
Exactly.
The places you're going to be playing from in every single game in that finals are going to be a lot more enticing. And that's what things are looking like right now when we do look at our series results. RRQ on top, and that is that gap that we were talking about. 20 points now the difference. 32 kills, by the way, for RRQ at the moment. That is a big difference to the rest of the lobby. Most of them coming in that previous game. But Liquid, with that win in our game that we just saw, now find themselves in second place with 37.
Wow, what a match to set us up so nicely for 5 and 6 here as we look down at the lower half of the leaderboards. And there's a few teams we had mentioned that were struggling a little bit. 2 previous winners of the Esports World Cup in VK Gaming and Alliance, both down there right now, 12 points and 9 points. And between them, NIP, who I pretty much considered one of the best teams coming into this tournament. When you look at their consistency and how they were performing, they are struggling at the moment.
They are certainly struggling indeed. Really not the Ninjas in Pajamas that we have seen in the Americas Pro League, and of course in the regional finals where they managed to win the thing. So a lot of work for them to do, but we've just seen, like I said, the blueprint of how to do well in this group. One big game with 2 remaining, when all of a sudden Ninjas in Pajamas will be right at the top of those leaderboards.
And also if we can see, a northern zone, that might help them out dropping up towards Zeus. It was quite the journey they went on, as we can look at a more of a zoomed out POV of how this one went down. And as I was mentioning, just with how well both teams played on the damage, as Panic was just
peeking over the
waiting in the wings like a little terror, and he is able to get that final kill. As we check in with Team Liquid now, could they be the winners of this entire tournament? I know I was speaking to Barney, our stage host, and he was saying he just has a feeling about Team Liquid going into this event. He doesn't know why, but he just feels like they might finally do it. And I tell you what, maybe he's the good luck charm.
Yeah, sometimes people not speaking enough about you just lets you go under the radar, takes the pressure off of your shoulders. We're talking here, in the caster booth, everyone's talking on the desk about, defending champions VK Gaming, Ninjas in Pajamas, a lot of expectation on them. Surprise, surprise, Falcons are always going to have pressure on their shoulders when you get to these events. Liquid just kind of been able to do what they want to do coming into this event. There hasn't been a huge amount of talk about them. There hasn't been as much when you compare it to some of the other squads. And I agree with Barney. I got to say, like, coming into this tournament, I had a list of 5 teams that I believe can win this tournament. Liquid were one of them, without a doubt. I think there's no doubt that they do have the pedigree to do so. And when I look at their trajectory through scrims, through match point results, whatever it might be, it's all looked good. And I think everyone's getting more comfortable. I think everyone is getting more comfortable on Legends. Maybe they weren't as adaptable on previously. And I feel like they're a real threat.
It's always nice to see players being rewarded for trusting in other players, newer players, upcoming players. When we saw Panic originally on TSM, we were looking at each other like, all right, this guy looks like he could be the next big thing. Zero takes that risk, picks him up. Sure, there hasn't necessarily been all of those results coming instantly flooding in. Could all be worth it if suddenly you're at EWC and you find yourself winning the whole thing.
Yeah, and I mean, he's also had to change Legends from what he's been comfortable on. Obviously, previously he's a massive entry fragger. Now he's having to play some anchor roles and some of those anchor Legends. And something has got to be found here for NIP on your screen right now, because things ain't looking too good for the boys on your screen. But one game can completely change that, as we've just seen in our previous one. A big game from this team, who have been known to drop big games as well, and all of a sudden we are changing the conversation.
And if we could take anything away from the previous series that we had earlier on today, we saw 2 back-to-back wins in matches 5 and 6 for Zeta Division, and they suddenly soared all the way up from 20th to what, top 6? Perhaps we can see something similar here for NIP going into these last ones, and they can show us why they are considered one of the best teams at the tournament.
So much history now with these teams, and expectation and what they've done before, and are they going to match up to that? Are they going to go one better? It's the beauty of watching the Apex Legends Global Series. And if you're watching right now at EWC for the first time, you've come through, well, first of all, welcome. Secondly, we hope you enjoy some of the action that you're seeing here on our stage, and we also hope that you're enjoying some of the stories of these players, because they've been doing it for quite some time, a lot of them, and they certainly have been through a lot of different trials and tribulations, like we're going to see in these final 2 games. A lot of pressure on the shoulders of a lot of big players, but that guy never seems to feel it.
Somehow, some way, has always had nerves of steel as effect, even when he first entered the scene and he was considered the next big thing. Well, he has certainly been able to live up to those expectations. Can Aurora now answer back as we go into match 5? And as I mentioned earlier, we still have Valkyrie. She's going to be up for this one, but Gibraltar will be banned after an 80% pick rate in match 4.
And that makes things more interesting when we're looking at where end game is going to be played, as that Gibraltar bubble, like we saw in the previous game, was vital to the team's success.